Hey, Google, turn off the TV. Ooh, bad lighting. Ooh. Ah. My lighting's being shitty tonight. Oh my God. I'm hating my lighting here. Oh. I'm even considering switching my camera. I don't think it's going to let me switch my camera. Oh, the lighting's shitty on here. Hey guys, welcome. I am loathing my lighting on this thing. Man, woo, I look like a corpse. Oh God. Hello. Oh my. Yeah, I guess I don't have a choice. It's not going to let me change my camera now. No, evil. I thought this camera has a little bit higher resolution, even if it makes me look like a corpse. Hang on, go for a little more red. Yeah, that helps a little. All right, guys, 1 second. I'm doing this, and then I'll put on my glasses so I can for sure read the comments, although I can read them pretty well. I need old man font in the chat. Oh man, you shouldn't be waiting on me. I'm live now. You guys can see me, right? Oh, the rendering's catching up. Okay, good. Okay, yay. Oh, my car is backwards. Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, the window really is that way, but maybe it's showing it. Oh, that's funny. I never thought about that. If it's showing it the opposite way in the actual chat when we do it, that's funny. Let's see. Oh, that's not bad. You know, we got 156 people, which I gotta say, considering we're getting more. Let's see, folks. Welcome everybody. If anybody's from YouTube who hasn't been on my earlier chats on TikTok, welcome. We're gonna hang out a minute. Oh, actually, guys, please do what you did before. Say where you're from. I know most are Americans, but hopefully we got some of the Canadians. Thank you. I was hoping we got some of the non-Americans could still show up. I know this is confusing. Welcome, everybody. We're just doing our hello for a minute and giving folks a chance to log in, and then we'll start with our update, take questions, and hopefully learn something while we're also having some drinks. Oof. I made a cocktail for last night's show. That was, I think I saw Norway. Hold on, I'm putting on my glasses. You guys are always going, this is even faster than the TikTok version. Holy cow. Canadian, excellent. I know. Glad I'm on YouTube too. I got to say, it took me a while. I appealed. They said no. So just so folks know, if anybody's coming in from YouTube and not via here, TikTok, I have been doing Ukraine updates on TikTok for the last 2 weeks. I've been doing a lot of quick video updates. My background's in foreign policy, but I've also done a lot of internet marketing, professional writing. I've written for The Economist, among others. And I just wanted to use those skills to kind of pull it all together on TikTok. So I thought, let's do quick news updates that tell people what's going on in a way they can understand, and also hopefully tell you what's going on underneath the news, right? So you actually get a sense of, why does this matter? Or does this matter? Should we be afraid? Well, everything was going well. The Russians discovered my account. They were not happy. So first they started spamming all the comments. Then they started reporting me to TikTok for hate speech. I was literally summarizing the news, folks. And you can ask the folks in the comment, hey, England. They reported me for hate speech, and TikTok shut down my live broadcast. I no longer am allowed to broadcast live. I appealed. They said no. I did find somebody on via DM on Twitter to ask TikTok to reinstate my live privileges. The person asked for my account. I then sent them a long letter explaining what happened, and we'll see what happens. But I still got to tell you, I'm still nervous. Hey, Sweden. Yeah, keep saying where you're from, folks. I'm just giving a little background. I'm still very nervous about, even if TikTok gives me live privileges again, I'm really nervous about going back there because I don't want to grow my audience, to grow our group, and then have TikTok just say, oh, you're talking about Ukraine. We don't want to talk about Ukraine because Russia doesn't like it. I just don't want to go there. I think I probably am safer on YouTube, but it's just incredibly frustrating. And as I said, I made a little drink. This was from last night. We had a wonderful chat. I'm about to start, guys. Don't worry. We'll talk. I'm just giving an intro here. But last night we had a wonderful chat. Hey, Finland. I always like when the Finns come. They're really on the front lines with Russia, poor people. But you kicked Russia's butt in World War II, at least for a while. Good for you, Finns. Ireland, lovely. But in any case, I made a drink because the other night, and we'll do it tonight too. We can go long. It's Friday night. I think it's Friday night. I never know what day it is anymore. But we had gone long in our chat the other night we went for about an hour. I sort of did the first half hour news update, it might be shorter tonight, and then Q&A, just answering your questions about the situation there in Ukraine. And about 8 o'clock, I was really tired of talking about Ukraine because we talked for an hour, and I said, you know what? People wanted me to hang. I said, I'll hang, but only if we talk about everything else. And we hung out for 40 minutes talking about literally every other topic on the planet that wasn't politics and wasn't Ukraine. So I decided, I made a drink for last night. I was going to hang out with you guys afterwards. I made sort of a white wine, orange juice. Is it a spritzer? I don't know what that is. And TikTok decided to ban me. So anyway, welcome everybody. I see we got more people. I'll just do another quick introduction and we'll jump in. I am John Aravosis, longtime political, foreign policy, overall politics guy in Washington, D.C. I've been here about 30 years with a 2-year break in New York. I went to work for the United Nations. Did not like it, but that's for another podcast, talking about the truth about the United Nations. But today we're here to talk about Ukraine. I approach this issue from a very, I will say, apolitical perspective. And what I mean by that is it is not objective. I am on Ukraine's side in this. I think what Russia's doing is horrible, and I'm going to present what I present is with that, taking that into account. But I do not believe in the right and left issue on this. I don't like people getting into the whole issue of Donald Trump and Ukraine and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter right now. We have a country in Europe that is in serious trouble. I don't think we're doing enough to help them. We're doing a lot, but I don't think we're doing enough. And we've got to figure out what all of us can do together to help those people. And bickering about our local politics ain't going to do it. So, all right, guys, with that in mind, all right, I'm gonna unscrew the drink because after last night, what TikTok did to me, I'm breaking my cardinal rule of Washington, D.C. One second while I drink my liquor. One of the things I learned early on, my first job out of law school and grad school, I was doing a master's in foreign service at Georgetown, which is basically international public policy, and a law degree at Georgetown. And my first job coming out, I had learned when you go to any of these public functions, there's always liquor, don't drink. Because basically people get liquored up and they say stupid things. And at the time I had a security clearance because I was working on foreign policy and arms control. So even worse. So I've learned now whenever I'm doing stuff that's work, even though this isn't work, but let's face it, I'm being recorded talking about foreign policy. I don't want to be a lush and I don't want to say the wrong thing. So typically I would not have a drink until I'm hanging out with you guys. Then I can get lushy. But after last night, man, this has been a trip. All right, guys, let's jump in. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I love these. These are the Talenti things. I got Talenti on sale. Not my favorite ice cream. I'm a Ben & Jerry's guy. Chocolate fudge brownie, but they're fabulous containers. So what do you do? God, that's good. I feel better already. So, okay, let me give you an update what's going on. Today, I would say, has been a slower news day. Each day we jump into the Ukraine issue. Sometimes there's lots of stories, lots of hideous stories. Hey, guys, welcome again. Thank you for coming. I have no idea if you can even, I guess you can't send me gifts or whatever the cute little things we do on TikTok. Everybody's so nice about on TikTok. You can put little glasses on my face. And my favorite is the sorting hat from Harry Potter. But I guess you can't do that. So thank you anyway for coming. This will be a little more serious, I guess. So anyway, today's update, the Russians are expanding. They started bombing 3 cities in Western Ukraine that previously were basically in a safe zone, right? I mean, if this is Ukraine, so to speak, you've got like Kyiv, the capital here. I mean, this is a bad depiction, but you get it. And the Russians were bombing here. They were coming up through the south. Here's Crimea that they stole from Ukraine. Odessa is right here, city. There's all the cities they're fighting here. And then here, let's just pretend, are those provinces where Putin claimed, oh, they're independent countries now. They're not independent countries. They're there. So all of these guys over here, you got like Belarus border, Poland border, and then Slovak, Romania, Moldova, and I'm missing some other NATO, aren't I? No, Slovak, Poland, Hungary. You got Hungary here too. So in this part of the country, they've been pretty safe from bombing. Well, they started bombing today around here and around here. They still haven't hit like the Polish, Slovak border, but the Russians are now trying to go into safer areas. Overall, I mean, there's a couple things going on. Look, they want to take Kyiv, the capital. The Russians, I think, were quite embarrassed by the fact that their convoy didn't go anywhere for a week. That convoy, the 40-mile long convoy, around 60 kilometers, say, hadn't moved for about a week. started moving a couple miles, like 3 miles yesterday or 5 kilometers. And then today it pretty much dispersed. But what they were saying on the news was, actually, a U.S. government spokesman for the Defense Department, the fact that they're dispersed doesn't mean like they're on the attack. They could simply be regrouping. It's not really clear. But I think they realized they were sitting ducks in that 40-mile convoy. So they finally decided to move the damn thing after a week, which is insane. They should have moved it earlier. But in any case, the convoy moved. The Russians also bombed, really serious bombing in 3 cities. One is Dnipro. Oh, shoot. I'd written down where these were, and I didn't print out the latest update. Okay, Dnipro, from what I remember, is, pretty much, I want to say Kyiv is here, and you've got the Black Sea here with Odessa and those guys. Dnipro, more or less, is here. And then, that was the first one, Dnipro, yep. Factory, they bombed a factory, an apartment building, and the apartment building was near the preschool. That's what they hit. They bombed a factory, an apartment building, and they almost hit a preschool. Lovely. They're going for citizens. And well, let me go through. I'll tell you what they hit first, and then let's have our talk about citizens again, about why they're doing the bombing they're doing, okay? Chernihiv is down there as well. I'm forgetting exactly because I had it on my map, but again, Kyiv is up here, Black Sea's down here, Crimea. Chernihiv. Chernihiv was a northern suburb. That's right. Chernihiv is a northern suburb of Kyiv in the north. They bombed a soccer stadium and a library. Lovely. And then a town called Isu, which I couldn't find on the map, Isu, because I only heard it. I didn't know how to spell it. This is awful. They destroyed a home for the disabled that mostly caters to the elderly. That's my, you got a quick glimpse of Sasha the Wonder Dog in the background too. All right, you don't go bothering me during my broadcast, kid. She's like having a baby around. She interrupts shows occasionally the way your kids do. So what's going on is we know the Russians are intentionally hitting civilians. They're doing this for a few reasons. One, they're just trying to freak everybody out. They know that the Ukrainians have got a strong backbone. I mean, we've seen this already, right? And a uniquely strong backbone, I would say, because nobody expected the Ukrainians to fight back this hard, whether it was the actual Ukrainian troops fighting back this hard and this well, but also the Ukrainian public. All the videos of them going up to Russian troops and yelling at them and screaming at them. Amazing. I saw one yesterday, but I saw it on Twitter, but it clearly was posted by somebody on YouTube. So I wasn't going to share it because I really don't like sharing videos on TikTok. I don't like sharing videos that are clear they're from another TikTok account on TikTok because I think that's rude. I just don't like to do that. But it was one of the occupied towns, I believe, and there must be like 6 Russian troops in the street, and they were beating some protesters, and they started to manhandle the protesters. Well, these townspeople got so pissed off, they stormed at the Russian troops, and somebody like panned with their camera. There were several hundred people. It wasn't like 50 people, several hundred people. And I think because they were in a town square, more people started gathering. A couple of the Ukrainians themselves got in front of the Russian troops and were like, okay, back, because they thought they were going to kill the Russian troops and the Russians would open fire. I mean, these Russians, there were 6 of them. There would have been a lot of Ukrainians hurt, but I think the Russians would have been hurt as well. But it was watching these people, and they're just and the Russians now start shooting in the air to scare them. You can audibly hear the crowd of Ukrainians getting more and more ticked off angrier screams as the Russians are shooting. Oh my God. But the backbone and the fortitude of these people, the Russians did not expect this. One of the reasons they're going after all the civilian targets is they're trying to break that fortitude. They're trying to freak people out, literally. The town of Mariupol, which is the one that they bombed, the children's hospital that had the maternity wing, right? The really big bombing the other day. Why I brought up Mariupol. I know the second reason they bombed Mariupol, which I'll tell you in a second, but they're, I can't remember now. They're trying to freak people out because they want people to be scared, and they don't want people to be fighting when they come into the cities. They want people to be, I know, Mariupol. I was going to tell you, not just are they bombing all the civilian places in Mariupol, they also bombed restaurants, an apartment building. shopping malls. They're going after everything civilian because they're trying to freak people out so that no longer are people willing to stand in the streets and scream at the Russians because they're hiding in their homes or they're hiding in their basements. The other reason, which I thought was interesting and very evil, is the Russians are killing and actually preferably injuring civilians. You'll notice what they did with the maternity hospital. They bombed the courtyard. And if you look at any of the videos, remember how you saw this really big crater in the middle of the courtyard of the maternity ward, of the maternity hospital? That's because they dropped a huge bomb. They didn't hit the building. They did the courtyard, blows out all the windows, injures people. A lot of people were already hiding in the basement, thank God. But they killed 3, including 2 kids. They injured 17, I read. But part of the reason you do that is because if you create dead people, they're dead. There's nothing you can do for them. I mean, you literally check the pulse and you go, they're gone. If they're injured, whole other story. Now you've got multiple people on them, people just trying to help them feel good while the medic's coming. Hold this tourniquet. So you're using people, you're using medical supplies. Soldiers have to come now because this is an area where they're bombing. There may be Russian troops, right? So you've now got soldiers in the area. You have now distracted Ukrainian resources away from the war effort, meaning away from focusing on the Russians to having to deal with your own people. So the soldiers are getting pulled away, and the medical supplies, rather than helping Ukrainian troops, are now helping Ukrainian civilians. So that's the twofold reason they go after civilians, at least twofold. They really are trying to freak out Ukrainians so that their backbone, their courage breaks, but also they're trying to force them to pull resources away from the actual war effort, going after the Russian troops themselves. I was going to tell you something else with that. It'll come to me. What was it? It was something else with the troops and the soldiers and yeah, just a little bit about what they're doing though. So what they're also doing, okay, so they're killing people. Oh, I know what it was. I'd read this last night from one of the Russia experts on Twitter. I follow a lot of really good Russia. It's kind of neat actually how many really top, I know a lot, but these are people who have been, teaching at our war colleges and things, and they're on Twitter. Former U.S. generals are on Twitter giving their advice on things. It's really amazing. And the, one second. I'm still a bit thrown off my game doing this on YouTube and not TikTok. I got very used to doing this every night with you guys on TikTok. What the Russians did in other countries, like in Syria and other places, part of their playbook is to go after the sort of the culture of the country and not just the political leaders. They just arrested a woman yesterday in one of the towns, I don't recall which, but they showed her picture, who was a museum curator in the town. Museum curator is, kind of the person who helps the museum, maybe runs it or picks what gets displayed today, which exhibits should we have, the curation of the museum. They arrested her because, mind you, this woman, what does she have to do with the war? She's the museum curator. They're trying to decapitate the culture of the country. They go after musicians. They go after artists. They go after, art in the sense of museums. They will go after activists and things like that, but they're trying to just it's sick. I still think it's genocide. I know the experts on TV get very upset when we use the word genocide. I think they're thinking we're comparing it to World War II or something, but I don't know how you don't call this genocide when Putin's goal is to eliminate the country, to kill as many citizens as possible. And the other thing he's doing, which he still was doing today, they're having these negotiations for peace, which are going nowhere, but also negotiations for these green corridors, they're calling it, humanitarian corridors, to let people leave the towns if they want. So people can have a safe passage out of these embattled cities and not get killed. Well, what the Russians have been doing, which again, they used to do in Syria, they do everywhere, they make an agreement that people can walk down this street and they'll be fine, and they wait until the street gets filled with refugees and they bomb it. This is what the Russians do. Well, they're still doing that. Now what they're doing is they're saying, we're not going to even agree to a peace corridor unless everybody leaving the city goes into Russia and stays in Russia. Again, this is why I say genocide. This is ethnic cleansing in essence. They want to depopulate the country. But imagine telling these people who are fleeing the city because they're being bombed by Russia that the only place, imagine being there with bombs going off, every 5 minutes, whatever it is. I would be a mess. And telling you, oh, you can leave, but you trying to go live with the bombers, with the guys who are trying to kill you in your entire country. No freaking way. But that, again, is how just evil this is. I've got a few more updates, like I said, and then we'll jump in with the comments. You know, this is much easier to read, too, because it allows me, and again, any of you YouTube people know this, but we come from TikTok. And on TikTok, you have to use your phone. It's got to be vertical. And it's your phone, which is this big. So when you try to read the comments, it ain't fun if you're broadcasting at the same time. With this, at least, I like that they're on the side, other than I want old man font. I'll have to look for that, where it's just a little bit bigger, and I'd be happy. But still, this is great. Bio and chemical weapons. All right. President Biden today put more sanctions on Russia. He banned the importation into the U.S. of Russian vodka, Russian caviar, and Russian diamonds. I actually didn't know they had diamonds. Of course, I knew about caviar and vodka. He is asking Congress, because this is something Congress has to do, he's asking Congress to revoke Russia's most favored nation status, which I used to know the details on this from trade stuff, but I never liked trade stuff. But it's basically means we lower tariffs and all kinds of things. You know, the prices of imports won't be as much. Russian goods won't be taxed as much when they come here. Congress, I guarantee you the U.S. Congress is going to get rid of it. They won't be able to meet until Monday, but that's a goner. And the other thing Biden did, and I got a little upset about this. So Biden was talking about how people, like a lot of us, like me, want to be sending these Polish planes to to Ukraine. People are also talking about a no-fly zone. No-fly zone can be tricky. Actually, I'm going to write myself a note on no-fly, because in a minute I can tell you more about no-fly, because it is kind of a tricky proposition. And then Biden said, listen to this, okay? So he talked about people wanting to do more, and he said, and I mean, I like Biden, so I'm not saying this is somebody who hates Biden. I'm actually saying it as somebody who relatively likes Biden, and I don't like what he's saying right now. As I said, I try to be really apolitical with this topic because it's too important. Biden says today, the idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, don't kid yourself. No matter what you all say, that's called World War III. Actually, that's called a Russian talking point, and Biden shouldn't be saying it. No American, no Westerner, nobody around the world who supports Ukraine should ever use the phrase World War III, because it is a Russian talking point that has existed since the founding of the Soviet Union. And certainly ever since World War II. Then it was nuclear war. The Soviets, which I studied in graduate school because it was still the Soviet Union back then, the Soviets loved to talk about nuclear war. But it wasn't, we're going to nuke you, although there was a little bit of that. Remember Khrushchev? What was it? I will bury you or whatever, with his shoe at the UN banging, you know, the former Soviet premier. Well, what they would do is they tried to freak out people in America and people on the left. They wanted the American left and the European left to be really, that was already kind of a pacifist movement, didn't want war with Russia. I mean, I didn't want war with Russia either. But they tried to freak them out by constantly warning about nuclear war and saying, oh, there's going to be nuclear war. And there's certain people on the left that really freak out about that. And I can appreciate that. I don't want nuclear war, but I'm not freaked out about it to that degree, meaning I'm not convinced it's imminent just because Putin keeps talking about it. But what he's hoping is that enough of us freak out. And now what I'm seeing is I see Democratic members of Congress on TV talking about nuclear war. Oh, we can't go in too far. You see administration officials and now Biden himself, by using this talking point of World War III, which is a euphemism, at least in English, we use it as a euphemism for nuclear war and utter devastation, utter annihilation. When you say World War III, you say, well, that's going to be World War III, meaning it's going to be just so freaking bad everybody dies. That's what World War III means in English. It doesn't just mean, oh, it'll be the next world war. It means we're all going to die. Well, so this bothers me because I think Biden is using their talking point, and I think it's going to bite him in the butt at some point, because, well, if sending in troops as World War III isn't providing, missiles that shoot down not even shoot down. A, we're providing the missiles that shoot down Russian planes. B, we're providing the missiles that go up in the air and destroy the Russian tanks. We have already killed a lot of Russian troops with our missiles in Ukraine. The Ukrainians did it. We didn't push the button, but we handed them the gun and said, go for it. So the idea that we're not already skirting nuclear war with Russia, I think is kind of BS. And this was also one of the arguments they used for not sending the Polish MiGs. They said, oh, that would be too much of a provocation. And a lot of the generals, the former U.S. generals on TV have been saying, and I've been saying it too, so we can give the Ukrainians a Javelin missile that they put on their shoulder and they blow up a tank. We can give them a rocket-propelled grenade that they use to blow up a tank. But we can't give them a MiG fighter jet that they use to blow up a tank, because that would be an escalation. The Russian troops are killed either way or injured either way. It is just as much a confrontation and an escalation no matter what we provide. But in any case, I just think this is bad language for us to be using. I think it's bad for Biden to be using. I think eventually he could freak people. First of all, what are the Russians going to do? The Russians are going to turn around and say, they're going to show it on the news tonight. Even Joe Biden says it will be nuclear war if America gets involved, right? So now you're bucking up the Russians. I mean, it's just bad on all counts. Again, this is not a Biden bashing thing, but we've got to be more careful with our language. We are helping them by using language like that. Russia, so biochemical, let's keep talking about that. So the other day, Russia, 3 or 4 hours before they bombed that maternity hospital, the maternity hospital in Mariupol, 3 or 4 hours before, the spokeswoman for the foreign ministry, which is basically their State Department. In America, we say State Department. The foreign ministry comes out and says that maternity ward has no civilian. This is before the bombing. That's a maternity ward has no civilians. They've all evacuated. It is filled with this far-right group that I think it's Avaz, I think is the name, AVOZ, Avaz fighters who they call Nazis. And with the help of the Americans and the Ukrainians, they have biological and chemical weapons that they're preparing to shoot at our troops. What happens? 3 hours later, the Russians bomb the place. Well, now we know it wasn't a mistake that they bombed the maternal care hospital because, the maternity hospital, because they admitted 3 hours before that, oh, this isn't a hospital, this is actually a chemical weapons plant, whatever. Well, that and some intelligence that we don't know. I guarantee you, having worked in Washington this long, something else happened behind the scenes, some intelligence assessment that scared the hell out of the White House. And Jen Psaki, who's the Joe Biden's press secretary, who's really good. And Greek, by the way, half Greek. Woo! I'm Greek too. She's really good. And Psaki comes out at around 5 o'clock 2 days ago and says, the Russians said this, they're lying. We need to be on the lookout for the Russians to actually use chemical, she may have said biological as well, weapons in Ukraine, either directly or as part of a false flag operation. By false flag operation, she means they use the chemical weapons and then they accuse the Ukrainians of doing it. So they wipe out a town with chemical weapons and say, oh, look what the Ukrainians just did. That's called a false flag. The fact that the White House would be so worried about it that they'd put out a statement saying we are concerned the Russians may use chemical and biological weapons, that's scary. Well, now you've got the Russians today call a session of the United Nations Security Council for an urgent meeting about the American effort about the American Ukrainian effort to use chemical and biological weapons in Ukraine. Yeah. President Zelensky said, he's learned one thing with the Russians. If you want to figure out what the Russians are doing, look at what they're accusing you of doing. It's what they're thinking. And this is the same thing that Jen Psaki said the other night from the White House. She said, the fact that they're accusing us of this makes it look an awful lot like they're planning on using it. And we know Putin has used chemical weapons before. He has no problem killing civilians. He actually prefers to kill civilians. So it's not even no problem killing them. It's not like, oh, they're collateral damage. If we hit a military facility, civilians die. It's literally his targets now are civilians. So we've got to keep an eye on that. Biden made a strong statement that I had in my other printout, but Biden made a strong statement saying something to the effect of, there will be he said there will be very severe consequences if Putin uses chemical weapons. There have to be, but guess what? Putin uses chemical weapons. And I was just actually watching a former general on CNN right before we came on here. And he was saying that, I forget where, but somebody had used chemical weapons in a recent war in the last decade or two. And we went in and bombed the chemical weapons plant so that it wouldn't happen again. And the general was basically saying, if they use chemical weapons, we may have to go after where the weapons are coming from. And that is going to be in Russia. So, it's going to be World War III anyway, to use Joe Biden's term, if the Russians use chemical weapons. And I don't know how you avoid it. Don't give me this Trump avoided wars thing. We are not going there. I'm not going there. So We are not bringing politics in, okay? Don't make this about Trump versus Biden, or I'm going to ask the moderator to give you a timeout. So please don't do that. This issue is and frankly, I don't like that too, because it makes me think people are trolls, and I don't like that. I don't want folks coming here because the Russians already sort of destroyed everything on TikTok. We're not doing that here. So, all right, that's my update. Yeah, about a half hour. Typically, we've been doing about a half hour update of what's going on, and then find my glasses again. I hang out with you guys, and we just shoot let me know what's going on here. What we got going here? I know we're here on YouTube. Woo woo! All right, let me scroll up. Yeah, correct. They'll use chemical weapons, and then Russia. Simi says Russia will use chemical weapons and then claim they hit a U.S. chemical weapons factory in Ukraine. Correct. One of the things they're claiming, and I think this is biological, they're claiming that the U.S. and Ukraine have a secret biological weapons lab. I think it's bio, not chemical. And what it actually is a former Soviet biological weapons lab that we've been helping the Ukrainians clean up for years. Because imagine, with biological weapons, you've got to be super careful that one of those damn bugs doesn't get out and kill your entire population, let alone travel around the world. I mean, we saw what COVID did. Imagine if it was a biological weapon that traveled like that, right? So that's what's going on. But the Russians are again, sowing the seed, sort of laying the groundwork for accusing us and the Ukrainians of using these weapons. What else we got going here? Deep, 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 deep. Opposite. Give me questions, guys. I mean, I'm scrolling back for the questions, but give me direct. I mean, actually, what I love is you're having a great conversation amongst yourselves, though. So thank you for that. But if you can, give me some questions here. Are Russians really threatening to leave an American behind on the space station? I heard about that right before I came on. I didn't see it. I do know that as of several days ago, the Russians were threatening to cut off all cooperation with the U.S. with the space station. And I know we were using their rockets to get up there. So that would not be surprising if what you said is what's coming next, that they're going to say, well, you get stuck up there, too bad. I don't know. We'll see, but not good. Will they take out Putin? Will the hierarchy take out Putin? A lot of the American experts hope that the Russian, somebody in the government, the military, or whomever, gets rid of Putin. I haven't seen a lot of people who think it's going to happen, although actually there's an article in the Washington Post. If you have access, and I think you can still get maybe 10 articles a month or something, so you may still be able to get access. I can see the guy's face. He's great. He's the former CIA chief for all Russia affairs, and he's on CNN a lot. Great guy, kind of gray hair, glasses, and he wrote a piece for the Washington Post, I believe, about the biggest threat to Putin isn't the military, it's his fellow spies. But I haven't read the piece yet, so I don't have the details for you. But, Putin is apparently extremely paranoid. People think that the reason actually he sits at those, if you've seen pictures of him talking to his advisors or when he met with President Macron, who came right before the war, he's sitting at this desk that literally, I'm trying to think, this desk has got to be 40 feet long. I mean, 40 feet is, 13 meters long at least? I mean, it's ridiculous. Putin's at one end, Macron's at the other. Then he meets with his generals. Putin's at one end, the generals are at the other. What some of the experts think is Putin is so paranoid that he may be having meetings like that because he's afraid of getting killed and he doesn't want to be assassinated. And that's why he's not letting people get near him. He also has a very hefty record of killing people who he perceives as a threat, right? He's killed political opponents. He's poisoned political opponents. He's jailed political opponents. He's killed journalists. He throws people out of windows. You keep hearing about these dissidents and others who were literally thrown off their balcony, 6 floors up. They just break into the house and throw these people off their balcony. I mean, it's horrific what you hear. So should we be surprised that if maybe the top brass in Moscow is scared to death of Putin and doesn't, and basically the idea is if you were to pull off a coup, you better get it right. Otherwise you'll be dead. Look what Putin did with that video right before the war started. Putin was saying, basically, we're looking at declaring, there's two, I don't know if you call them provinces or what you call them in Eastern Ukraine, but there's a separatist movement there that's been funded by Moscow, of course. And the separatist movement, I think, declared themselves independent, and Putin was deciding whether to recognize them. I mean, of course he's going to recognize them. They're his puppets. But deciding whether he's going to recognize them. And he met with his cabinet to discuss, should I recognize these puppets, And you're just going, give me a break. What are you doing? Well, he gets on camera. I mean, this is like camera, nationwide TV, and his spy chief, so basically like, the head of his CIA, so to speak, is there. And Putin is making a fool of this guy in public. He's saying things like, speak up. I can't hear you. Sit up straight. What are you talking about? What do you mean we should? Don't say should. Say yes or no. Do you agree or don't you agree? I mean, he's spitting at this guy. And this guy, I kid you not, it's like a kid. And this guy's just kind of scrunching in his seat. He's like the head of the CIA of Russia. And Putin is berating him, but he's berating him about every little word he's using. Frankly, he reminds me of my old boss at the UN, who did the exact same thing. She was awful. Head of communications, UNDP, horrific woman. But it's the fact that he would do this to the head of his intelligence says to me that, and the fact that the head of the intelligence didn't sit there kind of looking at him like this means they're scared to death of him because they know he'll kill him. He'll kill anybody that challenges him. So, let's see. I do think the Russian economy is in for so much hell that clearly people are not going to be happy. The people are not going to be happy, and the ruling elites who have the money are really not going to be happy because their money is disappearing. The military should not be happy. This war already has cost them too much. I had noted last night in my TikTok that must not be named, that was banned by the Russians, that the latest U.S. figures for Russian deaths in Ukraine in the war is 6,000 Russian soldiers. Now, Russian troops. That's an interesting number because, so in 2 weeks, 6,000 Russians died. In 10 years in Afghanistan, how many Russians do you think died there? 14,500 Russians died in Afghanistan over a 10-year period. And those deaths were earth-shattering in Russia. They changed everything. This mothers movement rose up and caused all sorts of problems. I even read people saying it could have helped lead to the downfall of the Soviet Union. I mean, earth-shattering numbers of deaths, 45,500. Putin has already had 6,000, the U.S. estimates conservatively, in Ukraine. That's 40 in 2 weeks. So I'll put it this way with the math. In 2 weeks, Putin had 41% of the total deaths he had in Afghanistan in 10 years, in only 2 weeks. Huge number of deaths. And I just wonder whether all of this, at 15,000 injured, there you go, whether all of this is going to come together, because now the military is not happy. Right? The military is losing a lot of men. They're losing a lot of military hardware, and they're being shown to be stooges. I mean, the military can still destroy Ukraine. They'll never be able to occupy it, is at least the thinking of the experts, because it just takes too many men to actually occupy, because you got to go. Just taking Kyiv, the capital alone, you got to go block by block. And you're fighting block by block with partisans and roadblocks and people dropping Molotov cocktails on you, right? I mean, it's going to be a disaster. But he's made them. So the Russian military looks like a joke now. Again, a very dangerous joke, and we shouldn't discount it. I mean, they can destroy Ukraine, but they clearly were not able to beat the Ukrainian army in 3 days, and they were supposed to, and that was their plan. Apparently, was 2 or 3 days they'd be in Kyiv. They didn't even bring enough supplies, reportedly. Like they didn't bring enough food and water and stuff because we're going to have Kyiv, at that point. We'll get food there. Didn't work that way. So I wonder if you get a mixture of the oligarchs, who are the rich business people who are corrupt and in cahoots with Putin, mixed with the military, mixed with the spy services. Basically, he's made Russia more in danger now, if only because he's shown the world, including the Chinese. We can finally say that because we're not on TikTok. The Chinese, rather than being an ally of Putin, the Chinese ought to be looking at Putin and saying, A, his army ain't all that. B, 90% of his army is in the western part of the country, 11 time zones away, and getting the bejesus kicked out of it by some Ukrainians. If I were Xi in China, I'd say, hey, is there any land around here I've been wanting, any real estate of interest to me in nearby Russia? Maybe. I mean, that, and if I were military, I'd be terrified of that right now, because you've shown NATO, you've shown the US. He's lucky that NATO and the US aren't as belligerent as he thinks we are, because we have no desire to go in and steal Russian land, but he thinks we do, and the Russians probably think we do. We could do it. I mean, there's the risk of nuclear, of course, which is serious, but could they beat us at this point? They can't beat the Ukrainians. I mean, not knocking the Ukrainians, but we always assumed the Ukrainians would have a lesser military than NATO, just because of the training and the money the countries provided. So anyway, very interesting. So, sorry. This is funny. I'm I'm trying to touch my computer screen with my finger to go up and down. Can't do that on a MacBook Pro. This is funny. I'm so used to doing this with this. Let me find other questions for you guys here. Yeah, I mean, there's no war going on. We're being lied to. That's the Russian thing. I mean, that all the bombing. Well, what the Russians are claiming is all the bombings are Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are doing it. They did claim too, and they got this. This was taken down by Facebook. They had put up the Russian embassy in the United Kingdom is particularly nasty, and they put up some images claiming that you may have seen this one pregnant woman at the maternity ward they blew up, being carted out, pregnant. You know, her pants are falling off. I mean, she's half naked, really down below, because she just got bombed. And she's pregnant out to here. She looks like she's about to give birth, and she's lying on top of whatchamacallit, forget it, whatever you call the darn thing that you carry people on. And it's got a watermelon blanket on top of it, a stretcher, a watermelon blanket. And it's a blanket that looks like a watermelon because this is a maternity ward with kids and stuff, so they make it look cute. Just to add to the horror of it, like the cuteness of the blanket, she's lying there, I mean, literally head sideways, almost out of it, pregnant to here, and 4 people are carrying her desperately. The Russians found some image. Either she is a model or somebody who looks like her, and showed the image and says, "Oh, she's a model. It's a fake. She's a crisis actor. She's just an actress they hired to pretend she was hit." Well, everyone went livid. That was even too much for Facebook. And let's face it, if you do too much for Facebook, you got to do a lot to do. With TikTok, all you have to do is sneeze and they'll ban you. But Facebook, stealing an election wasn't enough for Facebook. So Facebook said, and they deleted the posts of the Russian embassy and told them don't do it again. TikTok also, I think this was yesterday, but TikTok banned one of the largest Russian propaganda accounts that was, independent news, but it was clearly Russian propaganda, and I would argue clearly written by Russians. The whole language of it was not a native English speaker for sure. And they dropped things like articles, like instead of saying the Ukrainian government, blah, 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 it said Ukrainian government. I almost have to say it with an accent, Ukrainian government, blah, blah, blah. So makes me suspicious. Anyway, crisis actors, horrible people. Oh, what else we got here? Oh, I was gonna tell you about a no-fly zone. You know what? Let me explain the no-fly zone business, because people have been calling for it for like a week now. There's also a couple different no-fly zones you can do, but the idea of a no-fly zone is very simple. The question is the execution. All a no-fly zone is the Ukrainian government says to us, we are having a hard time controlling our airspace. The Russians keep coming in. Would you come in with your superior air power and just guarantee our airspace so nobody comes in that doesn't have permission? Sure. So the U.S. would set up a no-fly zone. We would basically say, we're the United States. Here's the map of Ukraine. If you enter anywhere across the borders without permission, you will be shot down, period. That's a no-fly zone. The problem is a couple things. One, you've got to enforce it. So there's the possibility of warfare, because if a Russian plane comes in, and they probably would, we'd have to shoot it down. And now U.S. fighter jets are blowing up Russian fighter jets, right? That easily could lead to a larger war. The other problem, which I didn't even realize actually initially with the no-fly zone, but one of the experts was telling me, the other problem is to establish a no-fly zone, for it to be safe for our F-16s, for our fighter jets to fly around Ukraine and patrol the no-fly zone, right, to make sure nobody's there, they've got to take out all the Russian radar and all the Russian surface-to-air missiles on the ground. And it's not just on the ground in Ukraine, but about 400 miles away inside Russia as well. So if you wanted to ensure all of Ukraine's territory, that nobody was flying there who wasn't Ukrainian, you would have to blow up all the surface-to-air missiles and all the radar, at least the radar for this purpose, going 400 miles further, in other words, 400 miles into Russia. That's why a no-fly zone is a big deal. I want us to do a lot more to help Ukraine. I want us to give them the damn MiGs, the Polish fighter jets. But I can appreciate on the no-fly zone thing how it gets really, really dicey, because it is very hard to implement. We did it against Saddam Hussein in Iraq, but we literally blew up his Air Force to do it. We would have to blow up the Russian Air Force and blow up the Russian radar and the Russian missiles on the ground. So I guess, let me put a finer point on it. to establish the no-fly zone, we literally have to attack Russians and kill them, Russian troops, and kill the Russian troops to establish it. It's that serious. So that's why it's a serious deal. All right, scrolling back to the bottom again. Oh boy, I did not see that 400 Ukrainians were taken by the Russians. I did see that a lot of Ukrainian refugees, I mean, a lot, I say, there's like over 1 million refugees. It's a minority of them, but it might have been 19,000 or something, fled into Russia. And, you know, my fear there is the Russians are happy to use these guys as human shields, to kidnap them, to use them to, you know, to get a concession saying, we want you to give us this land or you're not getting your citizens back. Remember, the Russians have no problem killing these people. They certainly have no problem using them as hostages. So I didn't see anything about 400 people, but I know there's already a lot of people who have gone up there. Chernobyl, well, okay, you know, the MT History Buff writes, the lack of information out of Chernobyl is concerning. You know, it's funny, I was just gonna say, there was an update yesterday. So Chernobyl is the Russian nuclear plant. At the time, it was the Soviet nuclear plant, but it was in Ukraine. And you'll recall that Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union until 1991. It was one of the republics. So it was the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. Russia was another republic, the Russian Soviet Socialist Republic. The way I can describe it is, it's kind of like how Great Britain and the United Kingdom always screws up we Americans. We always get confused as to what it is because we're like, wait, we used to call it England and now we've got to call it the UK, but sometimes it's Great Britain and they're different people. The Soviet Union is kind of the same way. We would say the Soviet Union and the Soviets, but it was actually made up of like 15 different countries that the Russians just pulled together by force, by fiat. So the Ukrainians break away, and but before they broke away, so 1986, I believe, so about 5 years before the Soviet Union dissolves, there's a nuclear accident at Chernobyl. There's a meltdown, you know, the worst that can happen. When I looked it up the other day, they're still saying it's the worst nuclear accident in world history, even worse than Fukushima, I believe it's called. Fukushima, yep. In Japan, remember a few years ago with the earthquake and the tidal wave, it took out the electricity to Fukushima. And when the power went down, the cooling system went down, and all of a sudden, you know, the cooling rods started to, or not, well, the nuclear rods started to melt down. It was still not, it was a pretty bad episode, but it was still not considered as bad as Chernobyl. Chernobyl was bad. The radiation was wafting across Western Europe. I mean, it was bad. So Chernobyl, the Russians come in, you know, a week and a half ago, and Chernobyl is like north of Kyiv. So it's, you know, you've got Kyiv to the Russian border. And I forget this. Does anybody have the actual distance from Kyiv, the capital, to the Russian border? I know Belarus is there too. I don't know which one's closer, but what the distance is to the border in the north, because I know it's very close. On the map, it almost looks like 50 miles or 100 miles or something. But if anybody knows, say it. But they're very close. And so the Russians are coming down. And initially, remember, the idea was to come attack Kyiv, the capital, and take it in 2 to 3 days. Well, the Russians decide they're going to take Chernobyl, the nuclear plant. Now, this nuclear plant has got a huge sarcophagus. They literally call it a sarcophagus. A sarcophagus covered the nuclear plant, and this sarcophagus is going nowhere for millennia because it's basically stopping it from polluting the land even more and killing everybody. Oh, there you go, 236 miles to the border. Okay, so it's 240 miles to the Russian border, I'm assuming, although I know Belarus is there too, from Kiev. So coming down, they run into Chernobyl, and rather than saying, hey, this is a really scary nuclear plant, let's go somewhere. I'm going to write this question down about sanctions. That's a good one that somebody just wrote down. 1 second, we'll go back to Chernobyl. Sanctions. So rather than avoid the nuclear plant, which is really dangerous, the Russians go, you know what? Let's fire rockets and everything at Chernobyl, at the plant itself. So they're bombarding this nuclear plant. Again, dangerous as hell. The Ukrainian government releases video from the plant, the control room, and the head of the plant is on a speaker system or, a radio calling out to the Ukrainian troops, and they played it in Ukrainian or in Russian and then translation on the bottom. And he's saying, Russian troops, stop shelling us, stop bombing us. This is a nuclear facility. You are going to cause, ecological damage worldwide if you stop it. And they're still bombing, they're still shelling. So the Russians knew what it was. My guess is they wanted a dirty bomb, right? Again, the chemical warfare aspect that we're talking about, they wanted to blow up the plant. They were going to say it was the Ukrainians who blew it up. And when you blow up Chernobyl, you've got a dirty bomb. Dirty bombs are nuclear bombs that aren't nuclear bombs. You take nuclear material, but it's not, however you make a nuclear bomb, it's not a nuclear bomb. So it doesn't have that cascading effect that you get a mushroom cloud. You simply have a regular explosive go off, but if it has uranium or plutonium tied to it, that explosive throws the uranium and plutonium everywhere. That's a dirty bomb. The uranium and plutonium don't actually blow up and ignite, but they're just poisonous as hell, obviously, to the environment and to people, and it throws them wherever the cloud goes from this bomb. This goes. So you could pollute a several block radius. You could easily kill people within a several block radius. This is what the Russians were doing. Well, anyway, the Russians take over the plant. The poor Ukrainian staff that's there to take care of Chernobyl is still there. The Russians are keeping them there at gunpoint. And then we find out the other day that the Russians apparently ended up cutting off the power to the plant, and everyone's getting afraid of a meltdown. Fortunately, the experts said Chernobyl looks like cutting off the power probably won't be horrific. But again, we're talking Chernobyl and we're talking nuclear plants. I'd rather not be dealing with probably won't be horrific. Last night, the last time I checked, the Russians said, and mind you, the Russians wouldn't let in an emergency crew from the Ukrainians to come in and fix it. They wouldn't let them in. So the Russians said last night, we let some Belarusians in who are Russia's ally in the war, and they fixed it. It's fine now. Well, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and the UN are saying, we've got no indication that it's fixed. They're not getting the readings they should be getting. I guess they should be getting information themselves, telling them what's going on. They're not getting the information. All we have to go on is the Russians claiming they fixed it. And everyone's like, well, if they fixed it, why aren't we getting the data? So that's what's up with Chernobyl. It's just one more example of just the crazy stuff going on with the Russians, really. How are we doing? I'll go about 10 more minutes with questions, and then I'll hang out, because then I want my drink. Even I'm not having my drink now because I don't want to. If I drink when I'm talking, then my memory starts to go. And I've got to be on remembering the stuff as I'm talking to you, so I don't want to do it. Hi, John. Designated Hitters says, hi, John. Why do our American journalists and generals get on TV and say, I'm surprised the Russians haven't cut off the power, water, and attacked the nuclear plants? A day later, they did just that. I guess I'm not sure what your question means. I mean, they have cut off all of that to towns like Mariupol. As I was saying, they aren't just bombing maternity wards and apartments and shopping centers. They cut off the food and water. They cut off the heat and gas, the heating supplies. This is still winter over there. These people have been having to scrounge up water from the snow. They've been, trying to use whatever food they can get. We will talk about my favorite drink once 8 o'clock hits Eastern time when we get into fun mode, I promise. Anyway, whatever. Somebody was asking on, the sanctions. Yeah, somebody had asked about a couple of people asked about sanctions. Well, what somebody had asked earlier about it was how long the sanctions will last. What Putin is hoping is that the West can't stomach it and the West can't hold the sanctions. My suspicion is these sanctions hit the Europeans more than they hit us. They certainly hit the Europeans more for energy, right? I mean, Germany, I think, gets 40% of its energy from Russia, which is no small deal. America, I want to say I read 8% of I don't know if it's 8% of our energy. I think it's 8% of our energy imports are from Russia. It's very small. But you also have a lot of trade, land trade that the Europeans have with the Russians that we don't. I'm sure French cheeses go there, Italian luxury goods, et cetera. And I think what Putin is hoping is that there's going to be growing pressure from Europeans and maybe even some Americans to lift the sanctions, because it's hurting us too. It's going to hurt our industries too, right? I mean, our industries had to pull out of there. And when our industries pulled out, when our aviation pulled out, they lost their contracts. And our industries aren't getting paid by the Russians to help service their airplanes anymore. So we're losing money too, right? The investment banking firms have been pulling out. Deloitte, the auditing firm, pulled out. Heineken pulled out. They won't be selling Heineken beer. Coca-Cola pulled out. They won't be selling Coke. Well, when they don't sell Coke, Coke loses the revenue. So I think you're going to see companies starting to speak up, and Putin is hoping that he's going to take a big chunk of Ukraine. Maybe he'll occupy, if he can occupy, a guerrilla war, and then hope that we don't have the backbone to keep the sanctions in place. And I don't know if we will have the backbone to keep them in place. Historically, I don't think any of us do. What is interesting is we have all been unified this time around in a way that's unheard of. The fact that the Swiss, God bless the Swiss got involved and implemented the sanctions on banking. The Swiss don't mess with their banking. The Swiss are I was going to say nonpartisan, non-aligned. They sort of stay out of these conflicts, and we get upset with the Swiss because they don't check enough of their banking to see who's funneling money and stuff. Well, the Swiss decided they're implementing the banking sanctions because this is horrible what the Russians are doing. Huge news. The Germans not only have promised to increase their defense budget 50%, which is huge and a great thing, the Germans also decided for the first time since World War II that they would allow the sale of weapons made in Germany to Ukraine, to another country, to another battle area. They had decided after World War II, maybe we decided, I don't know, maybe we working with the Germans, but I think it was decided, we'll use the passive voice, that maybe it's not a good idea right after World War II for the Germans to get involved in any more wars. So Germany has been adamant about having its weaponry not go to these places because of Ukraine. The new German leader, the new German chancellor said, we're doing it. So that kind of cohesion is unheard of, I think, for the West for previous conflicts. So who knows? Maybe the sanctions will. I'm looking at my phone because my room is getting cold. I think my temperature went down on my Nest thermostat. No, my room's just getting cold. Who knows why? All right, well, turn this off. There we go. So, who knows? But maybe that means that we can hold together, that the coalition can hold together longer, because we've already got a coalition that nobody believed we could put together. And I'm saying it's really good. And as much as I won't criticize Biden, but meaning I will criticize us for not doing more. I really think we should send the planes. I also have to say there was a statement yesterday from the Pentagon. I talked about it during last night's episode, right before I got banned by the Russians and their purveyors at TikTok, that the I was talking about that, and then this is bad. This is new for me having you guys here. I'm still a little, I'm not nervous, but I'm almost a little nervous doing this, that I'm losing my train of thought because it's a whole different setup than having the phone in front of me and my notes before. Anyway, I'll be fine. Who's the kidnapped mayor? I did not hear that they kidnapped a mayor. What mayor did they kidnap? I've got to Google that afterwards. I did not see that. I saw snow maybe coming to DC. I know we'll talk about snow afterwards in our friendly chat in about 5 minutes. I'm going to write mayor kidnapped so I can look it up. All righty. Anyway, so the sanctions, maybe we'll be able to hold it together. We've already done so much more, and that's what I was going to say, though. I've just been very proud of as much as I almost feel like it's my job to push our governments a little to constantly do more to help the Ukrainians. I am very proud of what they've done. They've done a hell of a lot, and I don't want to knock that for that. The Europeans and the Americans and, frankly, the Japanese, countries around the world have done a hell of a lot, which is great. That's great. Governor DeWine of Ohio is making arrangements to receive approximately 15,000 Ukrainian refugees. That's excellent. Glad to hear that. I was wondering the mayor of where was kidnapped. I'm assuming it's a Ukrainian town or somewhere, but where's? Melitopol. That is one of the big places they were fighting in. That might be, I don't know where it is. I don't know if that was the one that was near Kyiv or in the south. Russian forces kidnapped the mayor of the city of Melitopol. Again, they want to cause chaos. Right? If killing him would be one thing. Kidnapping him, now you're worried, where is he? Now they're going to try to make him to do a video. Yes, they did. Michael Hebert says, wasn't a Ukrainian mayor shot and killed while giving out supplies and water to civilians? Yes, it was in, I don't have it in front of me. I don't have which town, but yes, the mayor was literally in the process of distributing, it was specifically bread and medical supplies. It was those two things, bread and medical supplies, to the citizens of his city, again, doing a humanitarian effort, and the Russians just came up and shot him. And guaranteed, because they knew it was the mayor. Or at the very least, they thought it was a guy handing, it's like Jesus, like handing out bread and medical supplies, and they shot him dead. Why would you shoot a guy? Either it was the mayor or it was Joe Q citizen who had nothing to do with the war. Just horrific. But they killed him. Okay. Was it a Russian drone? I'm going to write this down too. Sorry, because a number of these topics came up. You can't believe the amount of time I spent this afternoon trying to get this thing working. I won't even go there, but TikTok, not TikTok, YouTube. I would love to consult for YouTube. It was I set up the first live and there was no button for me to make it go live. And I remember this happened to me once before. I had interviewed somebody for my podcast, and it was Dan Savage, who's a good friend of mine, actually. Dan is a sex, what do you call it? Sex advice columnist. Funny guy, wonderful. I've known Dan for, I don't even know, 20 years now. Wonderful guy. He's a true friend. But we were interviewing Dan, and thank God it was Dan, because I would have done it. I'm trying to find the button to go live. It wasn't there. I found out, I think, that if I create, bottom line is there was no live button. So I had to create a second live, and that's why some of you may have gotten confused that I changed the thing, because there was literally no button to go live. This one there was. So anyway, my point there was I spent a good 2 hours this afternoon trying to figure this crap out to get this to work. So I apologize. I would have spent a touch more time boning up on some of the news. I did bone up on a lot of the news, but a lot of the details. But anyway, let's do a couple more questions. It's 8 o'clock, but I'll do a couple more questions, and then let's switch into to cocktail hour. And I'm happy to hang and just talk cocktails. I'll have to check about the drone. I don't know about that. The Russians. There was something about the Russians shooting a missile into Belarus. Yes, that was a couple days ago. I was actually suspicious as to whether that was intended to be a Russian false flag. In other words, whether Russia shot a missile at Belarus because they wanted it to seem like the Ukrainians had attacked Belarus. The thing with Belarus is, so Belarus is another former Soviet place. It's right, north and a little east of Ukraine, right? And then you got Russia right here. So it's Russia, Belarus, Ukraine. Well, Belarusians Belarusians, however you pronounce it, let the Russian troops go in there and come down and sort of flank the Ukrainians on this side as they came in from 3 other areas, right? Well, the dictator Lukashenko is not at all popular. I mean, people hate him. I think his popularity is like 10% or something. And it's not clear he'd have popular support for getting into the war. I think Putin, and we're reading, Putin wants him. There's rumors about Lukashenko sending in troops, and Putin certainly, I think, would want him to. But nonetheless, it hasn't happened yet. And when I heard, and part of the reason is because they think there won't be popular support because people so hate this dictator. Well, I heard that story about the Russians firing a missile into Belarus, and I thought, wouldn't this be a great opportunity for Russia and, frankly, Belarus, the president there, the dictator, to say, the Ukrainians just shot a missile. They blew up a church in a residential neighborhood. Get mad, Belarusians. We need to attack these bad Ukrainians. That's what I thought when I heard it. I don't think it's gone there. But boy, when I heard that story, I was like, oh, somebody's playing games. Somebody's playing games. The Belarusians, I'm sure, are good people. He's a dictator. They don't like him, which is good. All right, guys, maybe one more question, and then let's drink. I've had a hard day recovering from TikTok banning me last night. It really did piss. I was up to 1 o'clock. I was pissed. It really upset me. I just, whatever. We'll talk. We can get into it during the drinking chat. Let's see, what else? I was looking for one other good question. I mean, there's a lot of questions, but I'd like to find kind of a good question here. I'll look at the bottom again. Oh, we knew they're using, somebody said cluster bombs. We already knew the Russians were using cluster bombs. We already saw them. When they were attacking Kherson in the northeast, which ironically is a it's an ethnic Russian city. I know a guy from there. His first language was Russian. He didn't start learning Ukrainian until he was 10 years old, and he had to for school. But his first 10 years, and this is after the Soviet Union, his first 10 years, his family only spoke Russian. They're ethnic Russians. Well, they attacked Kherson with cluster bombs. We know this because cluster bombs are, in essence, big warhead comes over. The warhead breaks up in the air. And if you know nuclear weapons, think of a MIRV, multi-independent reentry vehicle, MIRVs, that nuclear warheads have, where you can have a nuclear missile come and it can break up into 20 missiles and they can all go different directions. Well, similar idea with a cluster bomb. Hidden inside this bomb container could be up to 2,000 bomblets. And they're literally, I've seen pictures online. I say like I'll put it next to my face, like they're like maybe this big. So they're smaller than a baseball, bigger than a toy a kid might play with, but they're metal. And they do look like a toy. They look like they're cute little balls, something kids pick up. And in fact, kids do pick them up, and they very often blow up their hands, blow up their feet. because these bombs, a lot of them don't blow up. A good percentage don't blow up. I think the thing I saw one estimate was you could have as many as 400 in one sort of firing. 400 of these little bombs could spread out and not go off until you step on them. So horrific. Well, if you notice, you may remember some of the first video of Kherson we saw, some of the first video of the war, and they were showing in the distance, like on CNN and whatever, you're seeing kind of a city, and in the distance, there's a lot of smoke. And of course, my friend Matt's calling me. Call you back later, Matt. There's a lot of smoke like this in the town, like over a block area, and you saw lots of little explosions going boom, 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 and they were like little, like I say almost like firecrackers going off, like boom, 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 boom. Those were cluster bombs. There was the big explosion, and then these little bombs were coming down to the earth and going boom, 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 boom. Mind you, they're big enough bombs that they're going to kill somebody, but there could be as many as 2,000 of these things. They clearly used it in Kherson. They clearly used it in other cities. The UK Ministry of Defense, this was kind of scary the other day. I want to read more about this, but the UK Ministry of Defense of the United Kingdom said, possibly yesterday, maybe the day before, my days are mixing, but it might have been yesterday, that the Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed that they did in fact use their thermobaric weapon in Ukraine. And the thermobaric weapon is cluster bombs are bad. This is the other really bad one. This is often called a vacuum bomb. And what it does is it ignites this like fire in the air that literally sets the air on fire. It's called thermobaric with a B. Thermobaric weapon, vacuum bomb. It lights the air around you on fire, which creates a vacuum because all the air goes whoop. And if you're in the vicinity, because all the air is gone, any air that's in your body comes rushing out. And if you don't have your mouth open, literally, the problem is you don't. So you're like this, and the air is trying to come out, but it tries to come out anywhere, just ruptures all of your organs. Horrific weapon. We saw them bringing them in. It was confirmed the Russians were bringing their weapons into Ukraine, and the Russians confirmed the other day they used it. Nobody knows where. We are very afraid they're going to use it against civilians. Really nasty. Okay, that was a really nasty way to end. Let me look for a question that isn't as nasty. That was just an awful point to end on, if true. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the butterfly bombs. There are butterfly bombs. The cluster bombs I've seen are silver, correct. There are butterfly bombs too. I saw some images on Twitter that some accounts I trust were sharing, and there are these bombs that come down and they've got like wings on them, so I guess they probably spin and flutter. And again, kids especially will see this and go, oh, let's catch one. It's really horrific. All right, guys, let's call it quits on the, let's go. Oh, sorry. TikTok, they can find you. Okay, sorry, guys. Sorry, Lijo. It's been a little confusing. I'm going to stay. Let's stay and chat a little bit. Everybody who needs to leave, I don't mind if you go. If anybody was sort of new from following me, please do follow me on YouTube. You know what? I should probably put my TikTok link. I forgot to do it, but my TikTok handle is Aravosis, my last name. So you can look wherever here. I can even write. Well, it says my name right here, right? You can see Aravosis. So my TikTok handle is Aravosis. Probably wouldn't kill you if you like my stuff to go to TikTok. I'm still going to do daily updates on TikTok. You know, the quick news updates. I am going to try to do some here too. The ones on YouTube are limited to 60 seconds. I have no idea if they'll, I like on TikTok that we can get like 20,000 people at a shot. It's nice. You know, with a video, I have no idea how YouTube is going to work, but we can try. I'm just looking here to see. Yep. Nope. No response from the TikTok people. TikTok support at least did get back to me on Twitter and asked for my info, which I gave them, but you know, I'm pretty convinced they're not letting me back on for days. Let's do something tomorrow. I think my TikTok is going to, I appealed. They said no at TikTok. They just said no. Yep. They claimed I was producing hate speech. And again, anybody who's new, this is literally what we do on TikTok, what we just talked about. Yeah, I know I can do shorts here. I'm going to try them. Oh, let me see. I thought the shorts on YouTube were limited 15 seconds to 60 seconds. I'll look and see. I don't know. But I will, let's do what I like to do on the weekend because it helps out the Europeans is I like to do 1 p.m. Eastern time US, which there's a time change this weekend, so we'll have to be careful. But at least tomorrow, that would be 6 hours ahead. So 7 p.m. or 1900 hours Paris time. I'll do 1 p.m. I'll write this right now. I will set it up so it's on here, so you'll see it. You'll see it on my YouTube, and I'll put a TikTok video announcing it. I'll put it to the top of my profile. And as we did before, I'll put the link as the top link. When you go to my profile on TikTok, you click the link, you see beacons. It brings up all my links, and you see the top one is my YouTube for this. So I'll update that link. But yeah, let's do 1 o'clock because I like 1 o'clock a little better Eastern because it lets the Europeans kind of come when it's hard for them to come otherwise. So, but yeah, please do follow me on TikTok too. Oh, thank you from Iceland, Jenny. Oh, actually, yeah, I can drink now. Feel free to grab a drink, and I'm happy to hang out a little bit. 6 p.m. UK time? Okay. Is it? Okay. I don't even, that sounds about right because I think the UK is 5 hours ahead of us here in Washington, D.C. I don't know the TikTok email address, but I'm literally Aravosis on TikTok. My last name, there are a bunch of fake accounts, but I'm the account that's got 360,000 followers, so you'll know, you know? Yes, thank you. Now, isn't it funny though how this camera doesn't really give you the sense of my room being kind of moody the way the phone does? It's funny how it does stuff differently. You know, I had thought of doing a backup on TikTok. I did email legal. I did. I emailed the TikTok folks. I sent a very nice letter. You know, oh, that's nice, Law Professor Trosan. I did a very nice letter to TikTok, explained to them what happened, explained we've been having problems for 2 weeks with the Russian trolls, explained what I do, explained my background, explained that, you know, I've also been a civil rights activist for 30 years. I don't do hate speech, you know, and also the complaint said that, you know, it was hate speech against a protected class. The Russian military is not a protected class. Protected class are African Americans, religious people, right? It's not Russian military. No way. I know nice letters won't work. No, I mean, I put it on TikTok. I mean, I put it on Twitter. I'm trying to think of how much of this to say. Let's just say I have friends in a very important place in Washington, D.C. that I sent it to, and they were sharing it internally. I'm not going to go beyond that. You can guess which place it is. But they knew about this from a few weeks ago. Hey, Finland. They knew about this a few weeks ago, and when I told them they pulled me last night, they shared it internally because this is an ongoing concern for our government because there was just an article in the Washington Post, was it today, I think, or yesterday, about the White House reaching out to TikTok influencers to try to give them their spin on the war and everything. So this is clearly important for everybody, but, you know, verified. TikTok decides who they verify. Hell, I'm worried TikTok's going to ban me any day now. Verified. Oh, backup. So here's the deal with the backup as I drink my liquor here. The deal with the backup on TikTok, I don't mind doing it. I follow a number of the cryptocurrency folks, and they've had lots of problems on TikTok, as you know, probably. TikTok suddenly decided they were okay. TikTok was banning them just for talking about. They weren't trying to sell stuff. They were literally saying. They were educating people about cryptocurrencies, banning them left and right, threatening to delete their channel, putting them in timeouts for a week. They did create backup accounts. My concern is, you know, I've got 360,000 followers, guys. I'm not sure I want a second account. A, starting at 0 is a pain. B, why wouldn't they ban my second account too? I'm doing lives. They complained it was my live they didn't like. You know what I mean? And I'm afraid they're going to do it again. And what I'm afraid is going to come next. Oh, I know who owns them. Well, they're owned by a Chinese company, not by China. The problem is Chinese companies. China is a dictatorship. Chinese companies are under the control of the government. They can't do anything against the government. So who knows? I mean, one of the things I heard from somebody else was it is entirely possible that TikTok has, because they're so big, and we know TikTok, for example, there you will see 10 or 12 fake accounts pretending to be me. They're literally using my name. Like I'm Aravosis. It's like Aravosis _ like something really small. I reported those things 7 months ago to TikTok. I checked and it's still waiting to be reviewed. 7 months. Now these accounts aren't just there to scam me. What they do is they make you think it's me because I've seen them do it with the TikTok accounts. And they've already done it in some of mine. They then jump into the comments and they put that weird message about WhatsApp, and they separate WhatsApp letters like $, H:, so that the filter doesn't catch it. And they're trying to convince you guys to get like financial advice from me and just scam them. You would think TikTok would care about that. TikTok doesn't. So my concern, which somebody said, was it's possible that TikTok just is way too big for themselves. They don't have the staff to do any of this, and they don't look at anything. So they've got a bot that looks, and 100 Russian trolls said I was doing hate speech. If 100 different people reported, it must be true, right? So that's my guess of what's going on. Or at the very worst, it's happening because China's telling them what to do. I still wonder whether they just don't have any staff doing anything. But yeah, they don't do anything about the scam accounts. But anyway, I can set up the backup account. I just feel like I'm going to do lives on there, and what's going to happen? They canceled one of my lives last week too, guys. We didn't even know at the time. At the time, my live stopped, and I got back in and was like, that was weird. It stops again, and the third time it stuck. And some of you said to me, they just banned you. They just knocked you out. They censored you. I said, get out of here. I'm thinking it's my internet connection. And you guys saw it and said, they censored you. You were right. You were right. Mind you, I didn't get a warning. I didn't even get a warning from TikTok. All I got was when I tried to download a copy of the video of the live, it said, you broke the rules and we're not providing a copy of this video. And I thought, that's weird. I didn't even get a warning, and they just banned me. So who knows? But in any case, yeah, it worries me about doing that second account because I feel like it's doing the same thing. I mean, what I would almost rather do is if there is another, I mean, actually, you guys tell me, I can ask you because we're all here now anyway. Is there another service, whether it's here, whether it's Twitch? I know Twitch is for games, but who knows, right? Twitch, I know Instagram, some people like, that I can do shorts that people like, and I can do live chats that are easy to do. Also, for me, it's really helpful because, I do this for work, so to speak. Like, no one pays me to do this. I work on my own. It's been really nice because you guys, like the night before we banned me, you guys gave me like $128 in gifts of just all the cute things you put on the screen. That was really nice, and it was really helpful because I'm like spending all day doing this. I'm not getting paid for anything else. It helps a lot. I've got Twitter. I've also Twitter Spaces I can try too. I'm on Twitter. I've got a big Twitter following, so that's possible. I just got approved for Twitter super followers, but what I don't like about that is, and I'm like one of the first people, which could be cool, but super followers is basically you got to pay. And I don't really want people to pay for Ukraine content because I want it out there right now. B, I don't think it's very nice. C, I don't have a big enough following anyway to have enough people pay. But also, I still wouldn't want to do it because I'd want to have enough people, that we could get the message out there. I want to be educating people. I like reaching people around the world. I like, maybe today with YouTube, I don't even know, but some of you maybe came from YouTube directly. But super chats. Let me look at the super chats. Okay, I'll look at it for YouTube. YouTube super chats. YouTube super chats. I will check it. But again, what I want to figure out is something where also people can still make donations or give gifts or whatever, because it's really helpful. You can tip me on Ko-fi. I don't even know what Ko-fi is. Facebook. Facebook worries me because Facebook. If we're saying TikTok can be evil, Facebook, I'm not sure I want to do YouTube. YouTube's a possibility. I already had like 10,500. You guys added another 1,000 followers in the last day. YouTube is intriguing. My Venmo, all of that is in the beacon link in my. Can somebody pull it up? I can't access my Insta. I don't think I can access my Instagram on here. Can I? I can. Well, it also has all the links in there, which is nice because you can check out my you can check out my LinkedIn, all sorts of fun things. Hang on a second. I like this because it's more doable. I can sort of see the whole screen. It's way easier for me to see your guys' chat on the right. This makes me look a hell of a lot worse than I do on TikTok. I will say that, but what do you do? Yep, reports of shelling in Kyiv. I'm not surprised. I'm going to turn it on after this. Let me look here 1 second and see if I can at least look at my TikTok account without logging in, because even my login's screwed up on TikTok. It's so annoying. Okay, yeah. Oh, I do have it here. Okay, excellent. So this is my link of links. So this is, oh no, that's not it. Sorry. Let's try this one more time here. Tiki-toki. There we go. Let it open. Open anyway. Here we go. This is my link of links. So that will contain the updates for when I'm doing lives and where I'm doing them. I've got my main YouTube account. You'll see the top one right now currently is this live. Oh, the two links, the other two links, I'm like looking at this as I'm talking to you. I'm assuming you can still see me and hear me. The next two links are very cool. You can donate to help the Ukrainian army and donate to help the Ukrainian relief services. And I'm hoping I didn't like sign off by going to the next page. Did I? Tell me I'm still live with you guys, please. It better not have turned me off. I'm not seeing you update now. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. I'm hoping it didn't disconnect you guys. I'm going to... Oh, wrong page. Oh, there you are. You know what? I actually went to the other page we had set up. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. Did I just... Yeah, I think I just sent it. Yeah. Oop, where is this? I'm trying to... Oops. I'm not seeing you. I am... There we are. There we are. Sorry. You know what happened, I think? I went to another screen to find the link for my beacons link, and it froze it. I didn't realize it would do that. I'm sorry. The beacons link I just shared, that's a link to... it will have my next live will be on there. So for tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, I've got the next two, my YouTube link in general. The next two links are pretty cool too, because they're directly to the Ukrainian government. You now can donate directly to the Ukrainian military, which personally I thought was kind of cool. If you only want to do humanitarian, there's also the link there. I'm here. Sorry. There's also a link in that beacons link. I'll send it again here. There's also a link in there to donate for the, yes, I do monetize my videos. I mean, I monetize the chat, so who knows how that works, but I do monetize my videos. It's just, you've got to have like 1 million views to get, I think like 1 million views, you get $1,000. So maybe it's 100,000 views, you get $100. So you still need a lot of it going on, obviously, but what do you do? Yeah, I can just broadcast it. Even, it's funny. My nephew had even told me, I was going to say that beacon. So that beacon link, you can see donations for the Ukrainian army, for the Ukrainian social stuff. I've got my Venmo and all of that stuff in there. I've got my LinkedIn, my Twitter, so you can kind of check out everything there. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I leave it on. Hopefully, it'll. I know. What's funny? I know social media, but I don't know all of social media. My nephew wanted me, except I had problems to get it. Now I know how to do this. Well, a couple things. I've had a podcast on Substack for years. The podcast is probably going to get shut down soon. I haven't told people there yet, but just because I have to figure out how it works with the money so I can refund anybody who's got a partial subscription left. But yeah, Patreon isn't bad. I mean, I think the layout isn't great. So I guess Patreon's a good way to monetize, just saying support my work, I guess. Patreon's not great for setting it up with the videos because you don't want to watch this stuff on Patreon. It's ugly, I mean, I like, even on YouTube, even though YouTube is kind of an old format, I like being able to go and look and go, oh, video, almost the way TikTok does it. Video. It's kind of a neat way of looking through it, But my nephew hooked me up with Vlad. He was recommending that because I want to try Instagram too, see how Instagram works. And people can give gifts. I've got like 16 or 1,300 followers on Instagram or something like that. I don't use it enough, but I should. But he was recommending basically taking my phone, putting it on my, my thing right next to me here, and just turning Instagram on at the same time as this and doing both at the same time, because it also would give us a sense of how many people the service itself is sending. Like here we got up to around 600 or 700, which is pretty good for a first time here. I mean, at one time. And I'd be curious to see with Instagram, if we did it at the same time, would Instagram have been higher? Would it have been lower? But that'll also give us a sense of like what works. But super chats. Okay, I'll check out the super chats. All right. Yeah, super chats. Okay, I'll check it out. But with the super chats, is it only for people who pay, or it just allows you to tip? Because I don't want something that's only for people who pay. I mean, I could do those separately, I guess, if I had to, but I want to do them, simultaneously. You get almost all of it. It's part of the monetization part. But how do I'll Google super chats anyway, but I'm just curious how they work in general. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, one thing that was amazing for me though is I had tried. It's like a tip. Okay, actually, I like that. That's true. You know, I've seen people do this because also I think like if you tip, your question can get highlighted so it's easier to see or something. I remember being in some chat that worked that way at some point. I'm guessing it might be the same thing. That's good. Okay, no, then I will sign up for that because I want something you guys can all come. But it's been, now I will say this. I've been using TikTok for years. I never quite found I've got a lot of followers for a regular person, but not compared to friends of mine like David Pacman, who's got 2 million followers. I've got 10,000 or 11,000. But that's good that Super Chat works that way because I've done YouTube videos in general, but my YouTube videos never really took off. I tried putting up videos of our podcast. Nobody liked them. I put up the only video that did really well. I did an interview with Mary Trump. 80,000 people watched it. They love that video. My other podcast videos, 200 people watch, right? So when I put up videos of my dog Sasha, I get more viewers. So it's tough. It's tough. Actually, reminding me too, I'll try to put my PayPal in. People always hate PayPal. I never think of putting it in there. But I'd never figured out what worked on YouTube. And I just out of the blue had this idea like 6 months ago. And I was like, you know what? Let's just, my friend turned me on to TikTok. Matt, who called me here, he's like, you gotta check out TikTok. I'm like, all right. Cause I'm thinking like everybody else, TikTok's for kids. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And I really did start liking it. Like I started finding this science teacher. I forget the name of his handle. He's got 1 million followers. Forrest is his name. He's wonderful. And he's just love science. It's this effusive science guy. I think I told you guys, like the two Orthodox Jewish guys from New York who run an account called Jew Crazy. JEW crazy, and it's supposed to be like a New Yorker saying "you crazy," like you crazy. They're hilarious, hilariously irreverential guy, absolutely amazing guy. Sasha Calendar, I know. I will look into that for the holidays. That is pretty funny. I know Sasha has to be like the star of the show here, but TikTok, it just worked. Like I just thought, you know what? Let me try to do quick videos, and all of a sudden, people were liking them. And I'd never done lives before anyway, so this is new, but. I'm happy to try it on a different Jew. Those guys crack me the F up. The Jew Crazy boys. They're just renegade science guy. Is that who it is? Forrest, the guy I'm thinking of, who's the teacher who's got like almost curlier hair than me, and he's really emphatic and interesting. She's sleeping somewhere. I don't know where she is. I feel bad getting her up because she's asleep. I can tell she's not. Being the spoiler that I am, she's got around 5 beds. One of them is like that bed behind me on the floor. It's like the size for a Great Dane, and she's 10 pounds, but it was cute. But I've got a bed. Oh, wait, I heard that. Where are you? I heard you. Hey, what are you doing? Come over here. People want to see you. I'm going to put my mic down. I'm going to put my mic down and see if she'll let me grab her. She hates when I pick her up. Come here. Come here. Thank you. There we go. I have to do the voice because if I don't do that voice, she won't let me pick her up unless I do the bah, 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 bah. It stops her in her tracks. She's kind of looking at me like, I don't like being held up, Dad. So yeah, Sasha is a Yorkie Bichon. So Yorkshire Terrier and a Bichon Frise. Yes, you. She's 12 years old. Or I haven't said she hates being picked up. She's already fighting me here. She hates being picked up. She's adorable. Yorkie Bichon. So she's half Yorkshire Terrier and half Bichon Frise. So kind of like a Yorkie poo. She's just wonderful. I mean, she really is smart as can be, which makes her just demanding as hell. For anybody who's popping in now, we're just shooting the breeze now. We sort of stopped the official chat at 8, and then I'm just having. And by the way, I'm not drinking enough while I'm talking to you. I know the Pomeranians. A lot of these guys look. Yeah, I tried to. I think that is my Venmo. I tried to. My Cash App might even be $ Aravosis. I tried to keep it all to Aravosis. YouTube, for some crazy reason, made me do John Aravosis. And even John Aravosis, they made me add another thing. Like, there ain't that many Aravosises in the world, and I'm related to probably every single one of them. But, I doubt there's a John Aravosis anywhere else. But that's a good question. You know what you can do? So tomorrow, I'm going to do a YouTube. I will set it up right now for 1 o'clock tomorrow. And hydrate, although that's liquor, so it's kind of hydrating. I'll set it up for tomorrow, and once it's set up, the chat already works. So you could automatically jump into the chat and you could leave some questions there, which wouldn't be a bad thing because honestly, it would. Yeah, I know people are getting banned from YouTube too. I mean, that's, one of the things that, I mean, my suspicion is, first of all, YouTube and Google are at least easier to reach. I've done this before. Like I've had to raise hell with YouTube and Google. And when I go on Twitter, I can cause a firestorm. I caused a firestorm with TikTok and, crickets, so who knows? But teacup Yorkies. Yeah, Yorkies are wonderful. I am not such a fan of Talenti ice cream, I was saying, but it was on sale. I thought it was like half the price. And I thought, you know what, for $2.50, the only foofy ice cream I buy is Ben & Jerry's. I adore Ben & Jerry's. Chocolate. I've got chocolate fudge brownie in the fridge. I think after last night, I'm still frazzled from what TikTok did to me. I'm going to go and get my chocolate fudge brownie after this and just like eat like a pig. But these Talenti things really are wonderful. Like I use them for, I make sourdough bread as well. And I use them to keep my sourdough in the fridge when it's, sitting. There's like a new method of doing sourdough. If you make sourdough, oops, Sasha wants to come in, where you no longer have to keep some ridiculous sized container that you end up throwing stuff out. You can just do it. So I use Talenti for my sourdough and for drinking. She wants to play. We're not playing right now. I can hear her. See, she's like, she's sitting there looking at us. Oh, my dog cracks me up. It just cracks me up. What else are you guys saying here? Oh, yeah. So anyway, so tomorrow we'll do it at 1 p.m. Eastern time here. I'll set it up as soon as I finish with you guys. You can at the least enter the chat already and put some questions. I will also go, and I may look at the Super Chat thing tonight. Maybe I'll look at Super Chat first to see if there's any chance of me setting it up now or if they've got to approve me. I'm sure I'd be approved. I mean, I've got enough followers and stuff. Because then we can do that. Otherwise, I know she likes to play. She's just sitting in there. I mean, that's the thing that's like, you can see like that little bit of her right there, hiding behind the ottoman. She's peering around the corner. Oh God, it's like after 12 years, them inside out. She's trying to get me to play. She's so sourdough. I used to make a lot of bread anyway. I'm looking forward to 2022. That's a good one. I used to make a lot of bread anyway. I love baking. I like cooking. I'm a good cook. My family's Greek. I make really great Greek food, but baking is magic. I have a sweet tooth, but also baking is magical to me. I mean, like you cook a roast or whatever, it's a roast, but you bake something and this wet glop turns into this beautifully rich thing. Oh, and the richness of it. Oh, now you're getting the full-fledged. She has the ball in her mouth. Now she's dropping it and looking. She literally made a noise. She went, which was her. Oh my God, why aren't you paying attention to me? Chocolate fudge brownie is my favorite too. But she gets she's a smart little girl. I forgot what I was even saying with Sasha, Ben & Jerry's. What were we? I don't even know. Oh, the baking. Yeah. So no, I always baked. I always made bread, and I did for whatever reason. I was thinking of sourdough, maybe because I'd read people were doing it, and a friend of mine, Gabe in New York, Gabriel Arana, who's really good, writer, and now is the editor at the Texas Observer. Gabe said, "Oh, I'm making sourdough. You got to check it out." Sent me some starter, and I started, and it's been. I like it. I like sourdough because I like Greeks. We use a lot of lemon juice and sour things, and what happens is you get used to lemon, and all of a sudden you've eaten too much lemon and it's not strong enough unless you add even more lemon. So I always joke, if I'm making a dish with lemon for my American friends, it's usually, I try to make it so it's bland for me because they usually think it's too strong. So I like sourdough because it has a little bit of a kick. You can add citrus to, oh, thank you for putting up the things for Venmo and Cash App. You can add citrus powder to it that gives it a more of a kick. The muffins went well. My banana, I'm only eating like one a day or so, 1 or 2 a day, just because I'm still trying to, I don't want to be bigger than I am. I'm fine right now, but I don't want to be bigger than I am. But I do have that. Somebody asked what I'm looking forward to in 2022. I don't even know. I mean, I think kind of like everybody else, it's been very weird, right? We're coming out of COVID. I mean, are we coming out of COVID? We've got the war crap, which is just insane. I mean, I'm of a certain age where I constantly feel like I'm trying to reinvent my work. I've been working on my own since 1997, but I've been doing internet stuff and it's always changing, Sasha, you gotta wait. I know you got. Oh God, she's doing it. She's now got the ball in her mouth again. The thing is, she's like one of those disaster movies where she's moving closer. Every time I turn around, she's 5 feet closer. There was a great Doctor Who episode with those scary statues. If you remember, I gotta watch that episode again. Where you don't, if you blink, the statue. It was called Blink, I think. The statues come at you. Horrifying episode, but that's Sasha. Sasha's my blink if they were adorable. And we're coming to lick you to death instead of kill you. Anyway, every time I go on a tangent, I lose my train of thought, but that's okay. I'm glad we're just doing. So yeah, but 2022, I don't know. I think with work, I'm constantly trying to reinvent myself. I've done so much of the internet, and I've sort of been with these waves. Like I've really gotten involved in online advocacy in the late 90s. Actually, blew up a number of things. There was this sailor I helped called Timothy McVeigh, who's the same name as the Oklahoma City bomber. Bad for him, but I used it to make him famous because then people thought he was the same guy. But anyway, was getting thrown out of the Navy for being gay, and I blew that story up, and I started doing a lot of advocacy with email and stuff, and then it became web-based, and I started a blog, and that blew up. And, I've had like things blow up occasionally like that on and off. And then the last few years, it's been kind of hard. And finally, TikTok was where I found my niche again with tech stuff and internet and communications and the stuff I like to do. And it fit perfectly with my foreign policy. And anyway, that's why I kind of got bummed last night too, because I felt like 2022 was going to be just that. I was finding my groove again of something that was going to take off, and I could use my communication skills and everything because I like the interaction with people. I like the good stuff. The bad stuff drives me nuts. I hate, people who are kind of nasty online to each other drives me nuts. But I like this kind of stuff. And frankly, TikTok, I've told you guys before, the other nights, I've been so surprised at, considering all the trolls we get on TikTok, I've been so surprised at how, coverage on Stay for Sasha, exactly. But I've been surprised at how nice the good people are. People on Facebook don't thank you for stuff. You guys do. People, now I'll say YouTube because I'm sure it's a mix of you, but people on Twitter don't thank you for your content. Rarely. TikTok right away. People in the comments of the videos were just saying, "Thank you so much. This is so interesting and helpful." And I was just like, "Well, thank you." I got a letter today, an email today from a guy in Texas, 23 years old, and just wanted me because he saw what happened last night with TikTok banning my lives, and just wanted to tell me how much the work I was doing meant to him. He really wasn't normal. If you're here, I'm not going to name you, but he, wasn't really involved in politics, but watching us do these lives and talking about these issues has gotten him much more interested in politics as well. And, what wonderful feedback. You just don't get that. I don't get it from other social media places I've been, so who knows? Maybe TikTok can be the same. But it was, no, I'm gonna keep trying. I know some of us, I'm actually Boomer Gen X, Gen X. I'm Boomer Gen X, believe it or not. I don't want to give away the age, but yeah, I'm right between the two. Although my interest in tech and everything, I always say makes me a little more Gen X, I think, because literally it's on the cusp, so it can go either way. But no, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you'll follow me anywhere. It's just, it was interesting with TikTok because TikTok right away, the videos took off and I went, holy cow. Even before we did the lives, I was shocked. The first day I did it or whatever, some of the videos took off and it was crazy. It's, but what do you do? We'll see. But no, so anyway, the idea was, I'm going to do this tomorrow here. I'll put up the link in a bit on the profile thingy. Actually, I'm curious too, like when I set these up, if you follow me, does it not tell you when it's happening until it goes live? Which is kind of shitty. Like I would hope when I schedule it, it would send you a note saying I've scheduled one. You know what I mean? That would be kind of neat if it is. Yeah, they're very supportive on TikTok. I don't know if it does, but what I'm curious to try, follow me and see what happens. I don't know. We'll find. Oh, 5 minutes before the start. See, that's okay. It's just you haven't prepared to be free at 1 o'clock tomorrow if you're only getting five minutes before. That's kind of BS. That's unfortunate. Yeah, they denied the appeal, the jerks. I'll in any case, we'll do it tomorrow here. I still wouldn't mind trying Instagram if I can get it to work tomorrow. I may turn on my Instagram anyway. Only problem is I really can't scan the questions on Instagram over my head. There's this little thing with my ring light that holds my phone, but at least I could have it on at the same time and we could just get a sense of the numbers, because I'm happy to do it anywhere. I like YouTube. I like YouTube. I've always liked YouTube. Again, they've banned some stuff in the past, but the stuff they banned on me has been either violation of whatever copyright, which remember when they were really worried about copyright all the times, and stuff like that. But my nephew, this is my nephew. My nephew sending, texting me videos of his. It's really cute. He's got two little boys, aged like 2.5 and 5. So they're both these adorable little blonde boys, and he just constantly sends us, because he lives many states away, constantly sends us updates of the kids. It's really cute. No, I appreciate, guys, I still wouldn't mind you contacting TikTok. Feel free to. Feel free to, but let them know and say, this is ridiculous. This guy is not hate speech, And I wrote along. The one good thing, at least, I had written to them on Twitter, and I just to support and said, this just happened. This is crazy. I'm actually a real person who does this stuff. I'm not like a lunatic. It's not hate speech. And somebody did, as I said, wrote me back today, direct message. So it's like private message on Twitter, and said, can you give me your screen name for TikTok? I did. And I had also written an email to that legal at TikTok, creators at TikTok, whatever the emails they suggest. And they, and I sent that to her too, or him too. And I'm waiting, I think there's a chance they turn it back on, but I'm just like, I don't trust them now, I really don't want them to turn it. I want them to turn it on, but I want them to tell me, it was a total glitch. It's not going to happen again. Don't worry, but I don't know that that's going to happen, and it worries me. Did I really on today's show? I'm surprised. Boy, I think the Russians haven't figured out we're here yet. Just wait. God. Oh, that's interesting. Nazis? Oh, that's funny. Although I don't think no, Nazis we said because we kept saying that they were calling Zelensky Nazis, and the Russians keep saying they're denazifying. That could have been it too. Who the hell knows? One thing I found too, I'm glad they check, but I had done a video about, I don't remember if this was the one about the Holocaust memorial that they shot, that the Russians blew, was fired at or what, but I mentioned Holocaust in my title, and I was wondering, and it took a few hours for the video to clear, but they clearly checked it out. They cleared it, Oh, see, I think the Russians knew who I was years ago, to be honest. I went to the Soviet Union when I was 19. I was studying abroad in Paris, and I'm sure they keep files on everybody who comes and all of that. So I think they knew but they only knew who I was. Like I was just 19 years old, but I went after them really bad in 2013. Very long story, but I wrote up. If you can go to my Substack link is part of that whole thing I sent you guys. If you click on that, scroll down to my Substack newsletter, and one of the recent stories I wrote, and it's not behind the paywall, like half of them are not behind the paywall, is about, I said, like, Putin likes Nazis. And it was interesting because 10 years ago, I'm afraid of using these words, and now TikTok's going to come after me. YouTube's going to come after me. But Putin was basically using neo-Nazi groups in Russia to kidnap and terrorize gay, bisexual, and transgender people. Really bad, and was happy with it. Well, I really cried. I helped blow the story. I was one of the ringleaders blowing the story up, and then Channel 4 News, I think it is, in Britain, that does. Hey, Sash, come on. I know, not yet. That does investigative stuff. Did a wonderful expose on it, and that really got people's attention, which was really helpful. But a lot of us were sort of working on it. It was great Channel 4 did this. They did a ridiculously good job, and it got CNN to cover it because Channel 4 covered it. It was amazing. But I did a lot of work on that, and it had to be the Russians. Right when I was blowing everything up on Putin. Oh, Sasha wants more water. Well, I'm going to hang my microphone on my computer and talk to you as I get more water. So I'm blowing the story up about Putin liking the Nazis and embarrassing him. And what happens, but somebody from Ukraine, it says, does an attack on my blog. And it's a DDoS attack, any of you who know technology. And, I don't even know. I think I had Cloudflare at the time, or I got Cloudflare as a result of it. But it was, Ukraine. I did have Cloudflare, actually. It was Ukraine where it was coming from. So we were, he deserved it. But we did a nationwide vodka boycott that became really big news. This is about 10 years ago. So if you remember hearing about a nationwide vodka boycott and people were pouring it out, especially because of the gays, yeah, that's the newsletter. It was, we caused a lot of trouble. And didn't get any money for that either. I mean, I always joke, the story of my life is I'm really good at marketing, but I'm not really good at getting paid for marketing. So we've done tons of really cool activism over the years, but it was actually before a lot of this existed, which kind of sucked. We could organize people and get emails, but there was no way. It was even before PayPal. There was no way to even get donations, let alone say, I'm doing this for a living. Anyway, it's cool. This stuff is cool. I'm just hoping we can all kind of help it grow more. Whatever. We'll pick up my mic again. I don't want to keep talking about money. Yeah. Oh no, Putin horrific, and literally neo-Nazis. You'll see my story on Substack. I've got like dozens of videos. They would kidnap gay or trans people. They would usually trick them into thinking they were hooking up with somebody. So they'd go on apps and find them and say, oh, let's meet here. You'd meet with them. It would be a group of guys and this one woman, and they would kidnap you, bring you to an apartment. Sometimes it would be your own apartment. They come to your door, and literally 5 people tie you up, strip you down, paint, rainbows all over your body. One guy who apparently was a famous Ukrainian actor shaved his head down the middle, rainbows all over him, gave him up. I'm afraid of you. I'm not going to use this word, sex toy, we'll call it. And they're filming him the whole time and talking to him and interviewing him about why he's why he's an F word. And then they would post it on the Russian social media platforms, which of course the Russian social media platforms, there's a version of Facebook that isn't Facebook, but it's the Russian equivalent called VKontakte. Like V contact, V as in Victor, and they never didn't give a damn. We even had a chat conversation of somebody pointing all of this out with them and then saying it doesn't violate our terms. But imagine they basically out these people embarrassingly and put it public. Some of the kids were as young as 13. These were neo-Nazi groups, literal neo-Nazi groups, who bragged about being neo-Nazis on all of these websites. And a horrific story, but I've got a feeling at least somebody in Russia knows who I am because of that episode for sure. Since then, who knows? I'm guessing now they probably will. Again, who cares? Whatever. I'm glad I'm in the States, But what else we got going? I don't mind talking for a few more minutes, guys. I put my glasses down. I'm becoming my mother. There we go. I'm becoming my mother where I put my glasses down and then can't find them. Nikki Proshin, Russian vlogger on here also. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. On YouTube. That's interesting. And thank you, Be Kind or Be Gone, my moderator who came over from TikTok. That's been very helpful. But yeah, I don't know. I've got to say, I don't use YouTube a lot. It's funny. I mean, TikTok, I think I have a shortest attention span. Like I've been podcasting for 4 years, but I don't listen to podcasts because I work from home, and the idea of sitting down for like half an hour just sitting there and somebody talk, I can veg in front of the TV. Like after this, I'm getting my Ben & Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie. I'm turning on the originals and I'm watching my vampire series. That I can do. But vegging, listening to something just makes me feel like I'm sitting at the beach in the sun. I love going to the beach, but I hate sitting in the sun. I get like everyone just shuts up and lays in the sun. I get bored to death because I can't sleep. I feel the same way listening to stuff. So anyway, I haven't checked out a lot of YouTube videos. It's again, that's why I sort of like TikTok. I like being able to get stuff. Guess maybe which makes me more Gen X than. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna mute this. My family is now in a massive back and forth about the cute baby videos or the cute videos of my grandnephews. I guess not my nephews. My God, my grandnephews. What else we got here? Guys? Is anybody else drinking at least? So I'm not just drinking. I don't even drink much. All right, I'll answer that question. We're intentionally not doing Glory, and we're intentionally not trying to do any politics now after 8 o'clock. We did about an hour, but the basic thinking on who will win or will the Russians win. Okay, and then we're not getting into this again, only because it's exhausting kind of doing it. The thinking of all the experts is Russia doesn't have enough troops to win. They have enough troops to destroy Ukraine, though. They have enough weapons to destroy Ukraine, to level the cities, literally turn Kiev into a parking lot, horrible. But they don't have enough troops to actually take over because the citizens are going to fight them. And to literally go through to take over a city the size of Kyiv, you need a massive force. I mean, they were saying on the order of 500,000 or more, or no, I heard 700,000. 700,000 troops. They've only got 200,000. So they don't have enough. But everything's going to keep dinging here. Like I said, that every time you hear a ding, the angel gets its wings, and my family's laughing about the nephew's pictures. The thing is, the Ukrainians don't have enough to win either, though. So the Ukrainians have enough to do a guerrilla war that really hurts the Russians and destroys the vehicles and gets rid of the troops, but they don't have enough power to to basically beat the Russians and throw them out. So eventually, I would say the concern is that there's got to be a negotiated settlement. And what I don't like is I'm seeing too many people. A white Ukrainian, yeah, we were renaming the drinks the other day. I'm concerned that I'm seeing people talk about, well, there's going to have to, I'm seeing like the experts on TV say, well, there's going to have to eventually be an accommodation where the Ukrainians, come halfway to the Russians, and maybe they agree to give up Crimea and some other land. And I'm like, listening and they won't go to NATO. And I'm listening to this going, you've got somebody who may not be Hitler yet, although I will say James Clapper, who's former general, former head of intelligence for the United States, a brilliant guy, James Clapper. James Clapper on CNN already has been calling Putin a 21st century Hitler. He's going there. I mean, and Clapper, smart guy, very well respected, and he's calling him that. I'm not sure when somebody does this kind of thing that you reward him with land. I realize in the end, you kind of have to figure out what works. I mean, because I will say this, like, as a lawyer, I'm trained as a lawyer. Sometimes your advice to the client has to be put your ego aside. And tomorrow the live will be at 1:00 Eastern. Yes. Put your ego aside and, figure out a deal you can live with. Because otherwise you're just going to keep killing each other. But it still bothers me, the idea of giving Putin anything more. The Ukrainians deserve Crimea back, but at the very least, giving Putin something for this is BS as far as I'm concerned. I just hope the Ukrainians are willing to keep the fight up long enough and hard enough that something finally happens with the Russians. Meaning that the people back home get so pissed or whatever, they're able to put pressure on Putin, but I don't know. Yeah, Clapper's amazing. Oh, Clapper's another social media outlet, you're saying? Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that. Zelensky is Zelensky or who? Clapper? Who are you saying is Mary C? You're saying somebody was a Jewish concert. Oh, you mean, I'm sorry, Putin versus Zelensky. Yeah, Zelensky. So Zelensky, Jewish. His grandfather fought for the Soviet army in World War II against the Nazis, and 3 of the grandfather's siblings died in the Holocaust. So yeah, so the family heavily, and even the fact that his grandfather fought the Nazis for the Soviet army, like, you can't get any more anti-Nazi as that family, The Putin thing is, again, all right, try not to get into let's save the Putin thing. Glorian, we're going to save the Putin thing for tomorrow. I didn't want to get into too many. That's interesting. That's funny. On TikTok a while ago, people wanted to know what that is. And I actually did a video on it. I just wish it was easier to search for videos on TikTok. That is baleen from the mouth of a whale that I got in Alaska. It is sold in Alaska. It is only allowed as subsistence, so meaning the native Alaskans are the only people allowed to collect it and sell it. And it is, in essence, sold as artwork. Alaskans would typically have it hanging, so right here, like they would have it hanging like across here, because you've got all these almost hairs hanging off. It basically is, I want to say keratin or whatever. It's the same thing that's in your nails and your hair. It is hair in essence, but it's a very hard, firm hair that if I got closer, you'd see. I love it. But basically what whales have a number of these in a row in their mouth, and the little hairs hanging down pick up the plankton. That's how they eat. That's how, when you read that whales eat plankton, that's how they get it. So there you go. But some people think it's gross. I don't think it's gross because I didn't kill the whale. And it's native Alaskans who either the whales wash up or they kill them for subsistence, for food and supplies and stuff. So at least, it's less icky. I'm not baking anything right now. I made my sourdough yesterday. I made the banana muffins 2 days ago, finally. I'm holding on a little bit because, again, I don't want too many desserts at the same time. Actually, my mom has a great cheesecake recipe, and I made her cheesecake maybe 2 months ago, but it was nice because I made it and then I gave some away to the neighbors, some friends, and then I chopped up the rest and froze it. Like you kind of separate it a little, like in its cheesecake pans, separate them a little, put them in the freezer, and then once it gets hard, then take it out and wrap them in saran wrap, plastic bags, and then I had cheesecake like for the next month. And I even forgot, I was so excited, I forgot one piece, and maybe like 6 weeks after, I was like, cheesecake! And cheesecake, it's a wonderful, not Greek cheesecake, it's a wonderful New York style cheesecake. Cream cheese, not ricotta, and very rich, creamy with that tang. And actually what I do now with Mom's recipe is I add a bit of lemon rind and lemon juice just to make it a little lemony. I've got it written down how much I add, but it's just, cheesecake. Oh my God. It was really good. But again, fattening is not the problem. Is I bake. The baking process itself is exciting to me. I love baking, but I live alone, so I've just got to be careful how much I make. Like it was funny when I was at the UN. I was working at the UN, and I was running the online team, so everything dealing with the internet, but not the technical side, but the social media, the website, all of this. And my staff, they were like they wouldn't eat stuff, and I would make stuff at home and bring it in. I'd bring in cupcakes. I'd bring in brownies. I'd bring in Greek stuff I made. They wouldn't eat. National Donut Day. I would bring in donuts once in a while just to be nice. Like every 3 weeks, I'd bring in donuts. They wouldn't eat a damn thing I'd bring in. I mean, the UN, like I said, lots of issues. I would literally send a message out to the floor and say, okay, other offices on the floor of the UN. I'm like, I've got donuts. People would flood my office for donuts. My own staff wouldn't eat them. So, but I'm just like, anyway, yeah. So I love making those things, but I don't want all really bad food hanging around because I like it too much. Actually, one thing I like to do too is I've got a number of really good recipes for chocolate chip cookies, including one might have been from the New York Times where you use rye flour and you basically toast the rye flour in a pan. So you got like a frying pan and you just kind of very carefully, you're sort of shaking it for a couple minutes as it's getting darker and darker. You let it get about 2 shades darker, maybe even looking like peanut butter brown, and it just imparts this wonderful flavor to the cookie. But I would make chocolate chip cookie dough, put it in a Ziploc bag, scrunch it, and then freeze it. And that way, every time I want it, I take it out, and there's enough fat in it that it's still kind of malleable. I cut off a chunk like this, break it in 2, make little balls, let it sit out 10 minutes, and then put it in my toaster oven so I'm not heating up the whole oven. And I'd make like 2 chocolate chip cookies for myself at a time. And it's wonderful because they're like fresh and gooey, but you can use a toaster oven to do it. So yeah, anyway, don't get me talking about food. But I love food too much. It's like, I need to make food for other people. I literally give my food to the neighbors across the hall. Oh, she's going, I don't know if she's going back in her bed. She might be doing her nightly thing where she kind of comes and rubs her head on the ground. It's hard to know. Or she's going back into her bed. I don't know. We shall see. It's also time of 8 o'clock is the time I brush her teeth at night. And she hates me brushing her teeth, but she loves the toothpaste. So it's this funny, back and forth thing. Oh, I love food. God knows I could do a food thing. I've never figured out though how to do like lives with food because I think it's weird. Like I guess you'd almost have to set it up with one of those funny hook things where the camera would just be hanging, pointing at the kitchen or something. You know what I mean? See, she's still trying to get me to play. She cracks me up. Can you follow others on here? You can follow others. I don't know who else to recommend. If people want to recommend it partially depends who you like. Sweaty Balls. Sweaty Balls. That was it. Sweaty Balls on SNL. I don't know of people for you to follow because I don't follow a lot of people, but yeah, you can just search around and any account you like, you go to their main page, hit follow, and I don't know how, Sasha Watch. I don't know how it does it. I don't remember anymore, but somehow it'll let you know when they've got new videos and stuff. Actually, I've got the Scary Snowman account I follow on here that's wonderful. And they basically every Christmas, they have somebody in a snowman outfit standing on the corner, like in front of a typical downtown area where lots of stores together in a row. And it's the cute little snowman standing there. But literally somebody walks by, and if they walk by and look a little too closely at the snowman, he goes, boom. And then the Scary Snowman. It's the funny. It's absolutely hilarious. They've got I got notification he's got new ones up actually. Oh, it must have been for this Christmas. I've got to look at them though. Yeah, Scary Snowman, cracks me up. You can search. It's hard to recommend because like TikTok, there's actually cooking videos are amazing on YouTube. I use it for that. There are amazing do-it-yourself videos. I use it, for example, I'm not convinced I'm keeping them. We'll see. But you guys had recommended when I interviewed Vlad in Ukraine about a week or two ago, I was using my Apple ear things and it was hitting my cheek and everything and making noise. And you recommended I get those ear plugs, whatever they're called, the ear pods, not the Apple ones. I just got it. I don't love it because I still don't like that it cuts some of the noise and I'm hearing myself talking in my head a bit and I don't like that sound. So we'll see. But something you made me think about that we were talking. What were we talking about? They made me think of the earpods. I was just going to tell you about them. I don't know. The earpods. Yeah. So it's got 3 different little things, a sheath that you put on it that fits in your ear. And if it doesn't fit tightly, you put the larger one and then the larger rubber goes in your ear. I couldn't get it off and I was afraid of breaking it. YouTube is great for stuff like that because I wanted to literally see how do you get this thing off without breaking it. I didn't want somebody to say, just twist it and pull because you're going, okay, what? I'm going to break it. When you get to literally see somebody doing it, then you go, aha, that's how you do it. So it's great for baking. I sometimes even use it to look for the consistency of stuff. I forgot what I was making, something, and I was curious if the batter was looking thicker than normal. So I went online to see like what, maybe I was making scones or something. And like scone dough, I wasn't sure how dry it should be. So I looked at somebody making scones online. So YouTube can be really neat for stuff like that, I find. I like it. Other things too, but for me, it's visually, like the doing fix-it stuff around the house, absolutely. I found a lot of stuff I've been able to do myself just by going on YouTube and going, okay, like I've changed my light sockets and things that once upon a time scared me, but then I learned, so it's neat. But I think like anything though, it's kind of actually, and I had put on the filter for the chat too, to make it easier for be gone or be kind, not be gone, be kind, the moderator, because I thought maybe it made it a little easier. So some people might have gotten blocked. I didn't mean to, but actually, you know what I did do? Fixing the Mac, same thing. I did actually block the phrase fake news because the Russians were using it nonstop. It was the funniest damn thing on TikTok. Every story I put up, they called it fake news. And the funny part is we don't really say fake news anymore. That was like a Trump thing 2 years ago, but we don't really use the phrase now. It's almost become passé. And they kept using it in the comments. And I wasn't going to tell them and say, like, people don't say that anymore, you morons. But I just banned the word fake news or the phrase fake news, and they just went poof, gone. So little tricks like that. All right, guys, we'll stay like maybe it's already 9 o'clock. Maybe stay just a couple minutes more and then we'll wrap it up. I still want to get and just like, TV and veg out with my chocolate. What else we got going on? I know. Well, this is what we did the other night. It actually ended up being kind of fun. We just kind of hung out for 40 minutes and we just got talking about everything else. It was fun. I was surprised. And actually, it's nice because it wasn't as, I'm the only one talking, but it's not as tiring as having to worry about all the issues. And I know there's no questions that can screw me up. If they're just questions about things in general, those I can answer. My favorite desserts, I can answer. No, this is great, guys. Thank you. Favorite show? God, that's tough. The thing is, I have favorite shows, like all-time favorite could be Buffy, which I always tell people who don't know about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, sounds like a dumb show. Fabulous. Originals is very good. I for some reason, I tried it years ago, and the first couple episodes I thought were way too slow. But after like the second episode, it picked up, and I'm really enjoying it. I like the characters. There's a lot of nuance to the characters, which is nice. It's not quite Seinfeld where you hate everybody, but everybody's, because it's vampires, but it's also about werewolves and witches. Everybody's a bit evil, but they're not 100% evil. There's a gray area there, which makes it very interesting. Buffy is just my favorite. I've binge watched Buffy so many times. But the Originals is great. God, recently what did I get into? Last Kingdom I was really enjoying. It's very good. These are sort of the England in the 800s, 900s with the the Saxons coming in and stuff like that. But that was really good. Obviously, I'm watching Succession, which I've been enjoying. But again, talk about a show where you're just like, oh God, it's just so nasty. But I do like a lot of sci-fi. But I've been watching a lot of the vampire stuff. I couldn't really get through. It just got too slow. Vampire Diaries. It just got too slow. Like by the second or third year, it was like, oh my god. And I know it's a precursor to these shows, so I'm thinking of trying to get Vikings. No, I don't know Vikings. I'll write it down. Vikings. And then there's a couple shows that they recommended. Oh, you know what was wonderful? Merlin. Merlin, the TV show that maybe was on from 2008 to 2012 or 2012 to 16 or something. It's with all the young King Arthur, Klaus or Elijah. I almost lean a little towards Klaus, a little bit. Hard to say. I've got Vikings written down here. Actually, I'll look it up. But yeah, I was saying Vampire's Diaries was too slow. I was telling you about it. I forgot what it was. Another show that I was really liking. Spartacus. Don't know. No, Buffy is. Yeah, Last Kingdom was wonderful. You know what I was liking too was I was watching adorable Scottish guy, English woman goes through like a time portal and goes back in time to Scotland in like the 1700s. You know what I mean? Somebody watches it out there. It's wonderful. It's Outlander. You know, it's a bit. It could almost border on one of those books you see a woman reading at the beach, you know, with the guy, you know, the swashbuckler on the cover, but it's not. It's a wonderful show. Merlin. Oh my God, Merlin. So Merlin, yeah, go check out Merlin. It's the King Arthur tale. It's light, it's funny, but it has very serious plot lines. It's all like young King Arthur at age 21, young Merlin at age 21. All the actors are really good. The Merlin actor is amazing. It's a wonderful show, and it's kind of goofy. There's a lot of, oh my God, you're an idiot not to think he's going to kill you. But but by the end of it, year 5, Witcher. Oh, I was loving Witcher too. Yes, Witcher's fabulous too. So Merlin's great, Witcher's great. But again, it depends what you're into. Like I like those, as they say, like English period pieces. The original Charmed, I adore. I loved Games of Thrones. I hated the new Charmed. It was way too woke for me. And I say this as somebody who's, I consider myself somewhat woke. But the old Charmed, I've binge watched that so many times. The new one, just after 2 episodes, I was rolling my eyes. I was just like, stop it. It just kept getting silly, But sorry, Sasha's getting pissed at us here. I didn't try Poldark. I know Poldark is highly recommended. Excuse me. Poldark, highly recommended. Obviously, masterpiece. Downton Abbey was fabulous. Loved Downton Abbey. Amazing. Sabrina, I watched. Creepy, really. I only watched. Have you watched Sabrina? Is Sabrina the one with what's her face and Mike from All the Women Living on the Block Together? Hey, I know. Oh, Sasha wants a little more water. Hold on. All right, a little more water for Sasha, and then we're going to call it. Oh my God, Schitt's Creek, ridiculously good. Hold on, getting Sasha a touch more water. Schitt's Creek, I only discovered a year ago, had no idea, and binge watched it in a few months. Oh my God. One of the best shows ever, that show. Oh, I mean, and what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. I mean, they're all Canadian, but the mom, the lead actress, comedian, who's the mom, who was the mother in Beetlejuice. She, dear Lord, Afterlife. I'm trying to remember if Afterlife is the one I'm thinking. I watched one where there's like a company that helps take people when they die, and you can pay them a lot of money, and they'll take your soul, and you can live like virtually forever or something crazy. So Catherine O'Hara, yeah, she's the actress, Canadian comedian. Oh my God, and apparently, well, they were picking her outfits, but she picked some of them too. And they apparently, I watched what's his name, Levy, the kid who did the show, not the dad, and he was saying like all of her outfits were couture. Like they would go to estate sales, they'd go to wherever, yard sales, whatever, and like he knew his stuff and would buy stuff that really was really expensive stuff that just got old. But she was the one that did the hat thing. It was her idea to do the crazy hats every day. She was like, no, I'm doing hats. Anyway, Black Mirror, I've watched some of the Black Mirror. I haven't loved all. I've liked some of the episodes. Some of it I was like, eh. True Blood, I did like True Blood. True Blood, I think got a little, it fell apart a little towards the end, Emily drives me nuts. I try watching Emily. I lived in Paris and I'm such a fan. I think it makes me a little homesick, and she drives me a little crazy, both. But So yeah, Sopranos, I've watched that several times. Violent as Hell, wonderful show. It's funny because you don't always know about these shows. Like I'm surprised when I discover new shows, and like Schitt's Creek, I just didn't know about. You know what? I heard the name. Schitt's Creek was Buffy for me. I'd heard the name and thought it was silly, so I never watched it. And then watched it and went, "Oh my god, this is hilarious!" And Buffy was the same way. I was like, "Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that sounds stupid." And then I watched it and was like, "This is the most brilliant writing I've ever seen." You know, it's very interesting. Breaking Bad, I've watched a couple episodes. They were funny though. Yes. Again, that actress, I think she just died. Oh, is that Breaking Bad, where the actress just died with the black hair, who kind of plays the bitchy, or the like little, I don't know what, Chernobyl show. I haven't. People recommend it. There's also a number of you had recommended it. There's is it Netflix show about, I think it's the Ukrainian revolution, the Maidan Revolution, 2013 show. People are recommending. I just haven't put it on yet because I kind of feel like I've got so much Ukraine going on. I'm like, ugh. You know, Veronica Mars. All right, guys, I'm going to call it quits because it's 9:10 here. I just want to like chill a bit. I want to watch it because I want to watch a little bit of the news and make sure, you know, as we say, war on fire, that the earth hasn't gone up in flames, and then chill out a little bit because I got to get up early, since I like doing this at 1 o'clock for the Europeans. The Americans very good too. Yes. But for the Europeans and stuff, I still want to do it 1 o'clock tomorrow. So, okay. Yes. Thank you all. I'm going to sign off tomorrow, 1 p.m. As I said, I'll look right now for the super chat thing. If it lets me do it right away, I'll set it up. Otherwise, I'll set up another one of these for tomorrow, 1 o'clock. I will set up the notice now, and I will set up the TikTok notice. We're going to see if they get pissed at me. I'm a little nervous whether they're going to get pissed that I'm promoting lives over here, but what do you do? And we'll see you tomorrow. But, you know, this was good enough. And we actually had about 700 people, which surprised me. I was afraid we'd have like 50 people. And frankly, the 200 of you are here is amazing too, because it's nice. We've got it. I mean, like 200 is enough to chat anyway. I would have been bummed if it was 20 people. 200 is enough even to do a briefing. I'm happy with 200. So, all right, guys, thank you. I'm going to end the stream and sign off. This was great. Yeah. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time, same bat channel. Now you know where my YouTube is anyway, so you know where to look. You know, I'll get it up later tonight at some point, but you know where to look. But it will be 1 p.m. tomorrow Eastern. Okay. All right, guys. God, I'm tired. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.